TJ Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Welcome, everybody, to the latest edition of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, along with G. Bush, Dustin Fox, Tyvis Powell. I'm Adam the Bull. We got a lot to get to today. We've got Mike and Anthony behind the glass. Steve is on vacation. He's got the pineapple up on the door.
Well, he said
you never know what's going to happen.
I asked him about it last week before he left. He specified that this is a virgin cruise.
A virgin cruise.
That's what he said.
So only people on there are virgins?
He said.
Is that what he's saying?
He said, ironically.
That's the brand.
Yeah, that's the brand.
But they might all be virgins.
I agree.
I would love it.
Pretty sure they're not.
I would love to see some cameras
possible.
with Steve.
I would love to send some cameras
I
for
would love to see
Steve
some
as
cameras
well,
with
just
him.
to see what he does.
I picture Steve wearing, like, the sunblock on, like, the nose. Like
Yeah.
on there,
1,000%.
right? Wearing... And I'm making fun of the way he dresses, and I'm not a stylish person, but compared to Steve, I'm stylish, which doesn't say much. He's wearing
I don't know about that.
it's close. He's probably wearing cargo short pants, right?
You know he has high white socks and
high white
sneakers
socks,
on the deck.
yeah.
Hey, but
That's
what
a
if,
shame.
What if it's all a ruse? What if, like, really behind the scenes, he's like a
swinger.
Should I text Steve and try to get a picture of the fit for the show?
No, what if he's a true player? What if he
He is.
What if he like turned it on?
What
and
you
he like
mean?
hollered at everything moving on the
He
ship?
probably, you know what? That wouldn't shock me. I actually anticipate that's what he does.
Steve's a nice guy, right? He makes he made a good living.
He got some good
I
jokes.
bet you, if you had to bet on anyone except for maybe Jay being smart with their money, you'd bet on Steve.
Oh no, he has checks from '86.
Right, exactly. So
Not cash yet.
he's a catch on these senior cruises, I think.
He's smooth though,
I
because
think
he can make you laugh. He'll say
And he's
something
funny.
that's funny. Like,
And he's funny.
I think he like, hey, what we doing? What we doing?
straight,
I'm
he a straight shooter, huh?
Like, he's like, what we
Straight
doing?
shooter.
He was like, we ain't on the cruise forever. Like,
There was
I'm
a-
like, dang, Steve.
There was a movie, I can't remember the name of it. It was with Steve Martin, and he had Steve Martin had like a giant nose in the movie, and there was
Pink Panther.
no. He was
No one saw that, by the way. No
he
one
was
saw
telling
that.
this fireman was in love with a
What
girl,
Beyonce in that
and
movie?
he was giving him the lines to say because he was smooth, but he was ugly. Whatever.
This sound like
What was this
Hitch,
movie called?
but that ain't
Yeah,
Hitch.
I was gonna say it sounds like
It
Hitch.
wasn't similar to that though. That was Will Smith and
You basically described
Kevin
Hitch,
James, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this movie's older than that.
Oh well, then
But
Hitch stole it. Then.
But I picture Steve, G writing the script for Steve on these cruises.
Yeah, that'd be.
I don't think Steve need help. I really don't.
No, you think he's just getting action?
I think he.
All right.
I mean, there's a reason
action
that this
is
man
such
take multiple cruises
does
a
take a
year.
lot of
Like, Steve
And
gets
some people
away a lot.
I know.
Love cruises.
Yeah.
And I've not done a Virgin cruise,
Yeah.
but that I would love to. They are like the highest end.
Yeah, look at that. Steve saves some money.
super fun. Supposed to be super fun
I bet
cruises,
Steve's
but
had his house paid off for 20 years.
Well, his deck has been a whole dilemma.
Oh yeah, that's been a dilemma.
That's still going on.
Speaking of which,
got
all right,
those.
before we get into all the sports we got to get to, go ahead, Mike.
You got to tell your two fight stories before you do that.
No, I'm just telling one.
Well, tell one of your fight stories
Yeah.
before you do that. Gee,
shit,
couple people
another
in
fight
the chat
story.
have said it looks like you got Nickelodeon slimed. And I just wanted to point that out, that I do think it's a pretty accurate depiction of your Green Goblin slime fit today.
Yeah, man. Listen, yeah, it could look like it. It looked like it a little bit. It looked like a little bit.
Slide.
what is this?
What kind of hat is
this
fire,
Is this
G?
pleather?
Man, this I don't know what
Is that
this
Gator?
This ain't made in America. I know that for a fact.
I mean, it
if
looks
it-
like Gator, but
If it's Gator, it's raw because it go with the emblem
Right,
on the
like
hat.
that's what I was going for.
The
I don't-
Gator, yeah.
like it's Gator and
So you should
Gator.
have just said it was Gator.
This is crocodile.
Crocodile. Okay. So I had an incident that took. So this weekend, on Friday night, right? I go, and we'll get to obviously a lot of Browns talk. We'll get to the Guardians later, and maybe a few minutes on Isaac Okoro. Gee, what is happening here?
I was trying to get in the chat,
Get
and
it together, man.
it just came in on.
All right, so Was I in the right or was I in the wrong? Here?
Okay, let's
And by the way, if you say I was in the wrong, then you're wrong.
Okay. Let's hear.
So we're at we go to the Billy Joel concert. I take my son.
Oh,
to
you
go to
were-
Billy Joel.
Yeah, Nicki Minaj was like close.
It was crazy downtown Friday night because you had the Guardians, you had Nicki Minaj at the Q,
and then Billy Joel.
and you had Billy Joel and Rod Stewart.
And they had that bad accident too. People were going downtown and they were like,
I don't even know about that.
oh, it was a terrible accident.
Really? Anybody get killed?
Fatality, yeah.
Oh my God.
On 90, and
Jeez.
people were all stuck because there was 3 events downtown.
Yeah.
Like you said, and it was really difficult
You know,
for
I
people to
did
get
see,
down.
now that I
Yeah.
think about it, a lot of ambulances
Yeah.
and fire trucks. No wonder. Oh, that's
Something
really
very sad. Anyways, not
On a much lighter note, so we actually had dinner with some friends that were also going. Anyway, we go in there, and so the concert starts. It started late because Rod Stewart went for like an hour and a half, and he's fine. But we went for Billy Joel, and then Billy Joel starts at 9. He went to like 11:30. Okay, so about 15 minutes into the show, my son and I are standing. We're dancing. We're singing. Blah blah blah. There's a couple of people standing, but a lot of people in our section are sitting down.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you doing? Because when I see him in Madison Square Garden, nobody sits down the whole show. Maybe when he does a slow song, you sit down for a little bit, but for the most part, you stand up. So I'm standing up. Now, I was going to sit in the middle when he did some slow songs, but this guy taps my shoulder, and he's like, have you seen Billy Joel before? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, well, I'd like to see it too. Would you mind sitting down? Now, first of all, don't tell me to sit down, but you asked it in a wise-ass way. Instead of being nice about it.
Right.
I surprisingly support your call here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I said, what's your problem? And he goes, well, you're standing. I said, it's a rock concert.
We're not in church.
We're not in church. This is a rock concert.
Hell, some churches you have to stand the whole time.
That's true.
You're
You
right.
been to a Greek church?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true too.
That's true. So I was like, and at that time a slow song came on. I said, all right, I'll sit for a little bit. So I sat for like 15, 20 minutes. He did some of his slower, it was more like romantic songs, slower songs.
Ballads.
Ballads. Thank you. Then he started picking up the intensity again. I stood up, Aaron and I stood up, and we stood for the entire rest of the concert. Guy didn't say shit. Now, he and his people eventually got up. At one point, I was like, come on, people, get up. And like some people got up. But I'm like, it's a rock concert. You can't, I understand. Billy Joel's average audience, it's an older crowd.
Yeah.
But it's not 90-year-olds. The guy sitting behind me was probably a little older than me. He was probably mid-50s, maybe 60.
Was he in good shape?
Am I in good shape? I'm in terrible shape. And I'm standing up the whole time.
You got a point.
You got a point.
I'm in terrible shape. If I could stand up the whole time, the guy was, I didn't get a great look at him. He was way thinner than I was.
Okay.
There's no reason he couldn't have stood up. And by the way, like, I know I take up a lot of space. I get it, But we were not sitting on the field. We were just above the field. So the seats are going up.
Right.
And there's all these video boards.
Right.
Also,
We're
Who sits at a concert?
Exactly.
That's the problem I'm trying to figure
if
out.
it was church, if it was like classical music, okay, that's a different story. That I would go to.
You know what your
All right.
problem is?
Yeah.
You went to the wrong concert. If you'd have went to Nicki, you'd have had to worry about
I
those
know,
things.
but I don't like her music as much.
Nicki is the greatest female
She's
rapper of
good,
all
but
time.
I don't. It's not my cup of tea.
Shout out to Nicki.
all right, 2 things I have
Yeah.
here. 2
Yeah.
thoughts. Number 1, you think you're like 5'7", you're not. So the guy probably could still see over top of you.
I am 5'7". What are you talking about?
5'6",
I used to say I was 5'8".
You're 5'6".
I'm 5'7". You're mistaken because I used to say I was 5'8", and I'm actually 5'7".
5'6".
Not 5'6".
Anyways,
Yeah, so
so
I'm not tall.
I just wanted to give you a straighter.
Right, thank
So
you.
I'm just kidding. But the second
go.
part of this is, like if you go to a football game, a basketball game,
Yeah.
you stand up for big plays
Right.
or whatever, maybe on 3rd down,
Right.
defensive stand
Sure,
or something like that.
sure.
But for the most part, I will sit down because there are people behind me.
Right.
It's fine. Cavs game. I'll
Yeah.
sit down. I'll stand up for a big 3 or whatever. But a concert, dude, can I say the F word? You fucking stand
Yeah.
at a concert.
There you go.
You do. Sorry.
We
You
generally
try
don't say
to
that
avoid
for
the F word.
All right, my
again.
bad. My
Never
bad.
say it on Channel 3. if
Sorry,
you're on
sorry.
It's okay.
But it was so you said the stands go, it rises.
Yeah, we were in what
Oh, well,
we were sitting
yeah, that
in
is
what
there.
would have been the field seats
ridiculous.
for a Browns game
Okay.
by the closer to the western end zone.
I got
and
you.
the concert was on the eastern end zone. And by the way, he's sitting behind me, There are 4 empty seats right next to him. So even if I was blocking his view, why didn't he move down 2 seats? He could have sat there and nobody would have, because the people sitting next to me were not standing. He could have easily moved over 2 seats.
I can't believe you were this nice.
I was. I didn't go. I didn't lose my mind. I didn't curse him out.
It's this age.
I know so many stories about you where you have
I've
lost.
mellowed a little in my old
No,
age,
I understand that, but I mean, the point is, you don't have to be physical with the guy. But I mean, you typically
too old for that shit.
You are very intimidating with your voice and your New York isms.
Yes, that's true. Thank you. And a couple of people said something to me as the night went on that the guy was an asshole.
Well, speaking of fighting, I just wanted to make sure y'all watch John Jones and Stipe in November. It's the last fight. I think both of them retired.
Oh, really?
They've been ducking and dodging each other for like 10 years, it seemed like.
When is that fight?
It's in November.
If John Jones wins, he's going to fight Tom Aspinall.
No, he said he was retired.
Stipe's not the champion anymore, right?
No, Tom Aspinall is a champion in the heavyweight division.
Could be making that name up.
He could be.
No, I promise that isn't real.
John
believe you,
Bone Jones versus
But it's only because
Stipe?
John Jones hasn't fought in forever. Once John Jones fights, he'll get a title shot. He'll beat Aspinall, then he'll retire.
Are you picking him? Are you saying that he gonna beat
Stipe? Cleveland's own is going to lose?
Yeah.
John Jones is going to murder Stipe.
Jeez.
And I love Stipe.
We don't need that negativity on the show.
I'm terrible at it. You don't get Cleveland right now. You have embraced Cleveland since you moved here. You've gotten this town quicker than anybody, and you just lost Cleveland right now.
Listen, we love Stipe. Stipe's been on the show. We are big Stipe fans, but we got to be a little realistic here, guys.
If John Bone, if he ain't on that stuff, Stipe
Wow,
got a chance. What?
All right.
He be on that stuff.
Lot to get to today. Like we said, Guardians and Isaac, the exciting re-signing of Isaac Okoro. I don't want to talk about that.
It was big news.
Coming up later in the show, but first let's go to Mike and we get our Browns conversation started.
We're going to jump off today's conversation about the Browns with a quick word from FanDuel. You guys have heard us talk a lot about FanDuel before. It's America's #1 sportsbook. And right now we have a little something different for you guys. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 to get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with the YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime you want. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to download America's #1 sportsbook. Guys, we saw some tangible improvements in the Browns' offense from week 1 to week 2, mainly in the offensive play from Deshaun Watson and the receivers. Dustin and Tyvus, you guys weren't here. Before we jump into what's next for week 3 against the Giants, what did you guys make of Deshaun Watson's performance against Jacksonville?
I thought it was good. That was good. You know, I don't think it was exceptional, but I do think it was a good performance. I thought he did a good job making plays that he had to. You know, overall, I mean, did he start the game like 10 of 11 or something like that? I mean, he was efficient. But overall, I mean, the Browns' offense scored 1 touchdown. You know, so that's sort of the issue here. I mean, I also don't know how good the Jaguars are. They may just stink. And I'm not trying to denigrate the Browns here. You got to get a win when you can get a win. But I do think Deshaun was obviously better than he was in week 1, which is not hard to be better than that. But he won the game. So I'm not going to be critical of him and say that he didn't do enough, because they did, and they got it done. But yeah, he left some plays out there. But his teammates also left some plays out there.
Yeah.
Overall, it was great to get the win. But there's way, way more room for this offense to improve.
I agree with that. I mean, I think that obviously it was much better than week 1. I thought he put the ball in places where his receivers could get it, and sometimes those receivers didn't make those plays, which was shocking because, I mean, you think of who it was, the #1 guy, Amari Cooper, you know, he's been the most consistent guy, and for the first 2 weeks, he's been kind of a non-factor, which is shocking to me. So I would love to see those two get on the same page. But outside of that, I thought he did some good scrambling abilities. He looked good in the pocket. I know I seen Jason say he held the ball for a tad bit longer this week than he did last week, but when you watch it on the eye test, kind of seemed like that was not the case.
I think it's misleading because, you know, there were a couple plays where he scrambled around a lot.
Yeah.
And that's just going to blow up that. You know, the mobile quarterbacks are going to have a higher average time they throw. But when the play, like last week, I thought there were a ton of times where he had guys open and he didn't throw the ball.
Yeah.
I didn't think that happened much, if at all, this week.
I thought he did a good job of going through his progressions. All right, boom, I'm gonna get the ball, check the coverage, I'm going here with it, and the ball kind of came out efficiently. I think that comes from the offensive line being a little bit better. Provide him some more time. I thought he trusted him a little bit more, and he trusted his receivers to make plays. So I think that has something to do with it, but it was not perfect at all. Obviously, when you think about the things that was said about this offense in the offseason and some of the additions that they made, I thought Judy played well, but some of the additions that they made, this offense got a long way to go if they want to be, a Super Bowl caliber. But, he did say it was going to take some time, and the good news is they look better than they did a week before, so they're headed in the right direction. Maybe they need to expedite that process, but it just is week 2 coming up on week 3. You should start seeing things start to really materialize in the next couple of weeks.
Look, I'm sure a lot of us watched that Chiefs-Bengals game yesterday, right? Which was a super fun game to watch. Super fun, a lot of offense and explosiveness between those teams.
Yeah.
The Browns offense plays the way they did yesterday, or Sunday I should say. They can't beat a team like the Bengals or the Chiefs. They're going to have to create the firepower offensively to be able to score more than one touchdown, and hell, to be able to win shootouts in this league, especially when you get to the playoffs and you're playing these high-caliber, high-potent offenses. Go ahead.
I wouldn't necessarily say that because the Browns' defense is better than both the Chiefs and the Cincinnati. So I think that they would stop a lot of those. Now, Denzel got to be on the field.
Chiefs have one of the best defenses, I think, in football. So
what that is. Who they corners now?
You really put me on the spot here right now.
I know McDuffie, but he played. Is McDuffie playing outside or is he just playing?
Yeah, he was on Chase a lot of the game. I thought he did a good job on Chase.
So they got a number 1. That's good.
I actually thought the Bengals D played pretty well in that game. The
Cam
Chiefs,
Taylor-Britt, after you was mad at him, about saying what he said, but he backed it up.
And the Chiefs scored one of their touchdowns on Burrow fumbled when he got sacked. And they picked it up and returned it. But I think, guys, there's a couple things at play. I think at least temporarily we have to lower the bar for our expectations for Deshaun Watson. Not in the long run, because it's not unfair. Like when you traded for the guy, you expected a superstar, and right now that feels impossible that he's going to be a superstar. Mm-hmm. So I think I've, at least on the short term, lowered the bar for what I expect, and obviously it was a lot better than week 1. But also, look at the passing numbers around the league generally.
I was going to say that.
They're way down. Like touchdowns in general are way down. I think 2 years ago. Did you have this stat yesterday, Mike? I can't remember where I heard
I actually updated it this morning. You could see it on the screen here, but these are the passing touchdowns through 2 weeks of the season. It is down 37.3% from 2021 and 2020.
And,
but even from 2022, there was 36 less touchdowns from 2 years ago, 17 from last year.
I watched the Eagles-Falcons last night. How much yards did Jalen Hurts throw for?
Not a ton.
I
don't know.
Was it 200? I'm about to say everybody's about 170, 185 range.
If you really ball and you get 225, at some point I will be interested in seeing
183.
183.
Yeah.
It's a small sample size, but I would be really interested to see at what point people start to be like, okay, is this the new trend? Is this the new normal? Because these yards ain't looking like 300.
Hold on. What did Patty have?
Under
152.
152.
Patty had 152? Wow, that's shocking.
Patty Mayonnaise had 152.
What did Joe have?
Ty, after Aditi comes out, we're going to get to the trends of kind of countering this too high safety look. But I want to get back to Watson, the Browns offense, and what we can expect kind of moving forward. We saw some new wrinkles in week 2 that went more heavy. We saw some more motion. It was kind of a little bit of an evolution, but heading into week 3 from Watson and the rest of this offense, what do you think that next wrinkle?
Well, heavy was not an evolution.
They used heavy on 2 plays.
I know, but
25%.
In the past they've used heavy all the time. So
I'm saying as they find their identity this year.
I guess there was more motion, guys. That was noticeable.
Yeah,
way more than we've ever seen in a Kevin Stefanski.
How many illegal shifts did they have?
And we couldn't get it done right.
You can't go.
That was an issue
go
all over the league.
You can't go up the field no more. That Miami kind of killed that. So
the Jaguars lost a touchdown because of that.
Yeah,
on that touchdown, they would have taken the lead instead of having to settle for that field goal to make it 16-13. Kirk was in motion there. So I think that's a little bit of an issue everywhere. They've made an emphasis. The refs have made an emphasis on that, and the tackles starting behind the line of scrimmage. So we saw that mostly in that opening night Thursday Ravens-Chiefs game. But in terms of what to expect from this offense, I mean, I know the Giants' defense is not bad, but their teams as a whole, the Giants are terrible. The Browns' offense should continue to get better this week. Are you guys expecting that?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I do think that they're going to continue to get better.
Yeah.
And, as they get healthier, that's going to help offensively. I think Deshaun, that game is huge for his confidence. For him to be able to go out there and make the throws that he had to make was really encouraging. But I also think, too, and you guys have probably, maybe you talked about this yesterday, we've lowered the bar on Deshaun that if he just reaches the low bar we have now, everyone's like, oh, okay, that's great. It's like, no, I still think the expectation for a $245 million quarterback is to do more, to score more than one touchdown, to be better than 2 of 14 on third down. Those are things that they have to get better at, and it's okay. It's still early.
Right.
But
that's what I'm saying. I've lowered the bar temporarily.
Yeah.
I'm willing to be patient, and I was happy with how he played yesterday.
Yeah, I was too.
If this is the best he's going to give us all year,
Oh, no.
that's not good enough.
Yeah.
But for now,
Well, that's my point.
Yeah, right. That's fair. And listen, I thought yesterday Sunday that a lot of the reason they didn't score more, and I've often blamed Deshaun for that, but in this week I thought it was more the other guys than it was him, in my opinion, because there were drops in key spots. What is going on? What do you guys think about Amari Cooper? Are you worried he's going over the cliff?
Yeah, of course. He looks disengaged right now, and it's very concerning to me, especially what do you have, 2 or 3 drops yesterday? The one was whoa, what are we doing?
Look at that. Put the 2 game stats up, Mike.
And he had
this is
the
a crazy
touchdown
stat
drop
here.
in the first one.
17 targets, 5 catches.
He got the ball on the 1 third down, and he had the first down.
And bellied out.
Just dipped back.
Well, he ran back, which was really.
See, they tell you not to do that in middle school.
It's interesting because remember when me and Jason was both saying the same thing when the trade first came up about the Ayuk thing.
Yeah.
And I kept saying the rule is always you trade a guy a year early rather than a year too late.
Yeah, sure.
And everybody looked at me and Jason was like, y'all crazy. We want to keep Coop. Could it have been that they seen this coming? Maybe they thought he's not looking that good. Like maybe.
I mean, they
maybe
did give him more money. They did give him
because I don't think I don't understand why he would have an attitude with the organization. I mean, they literally gave him. What they give him to guaranteed his salary? Gave him $20 million or something like that.
They gave him a little more money.
So he's getting the money. I know he wants the long term, but they still took care of you for this year.
Well, this is not helping his cause long
Yeah,
term.
and then on top of that, you need to perform if you want to play past this year. If you want to actually get paid bigger by somebody, it matters now. You got to put some stats up to show people last year wasn't a fluke. This is who I am. I can still be in my prime, so you can sign another deal. So. I'm not buying the fact that he's disinterested. It just he looked like right now he lost a step.
And wide receivers can fall off the cliff in a hurry too, right? I mean, we saw Jarvis Landry, we loved him, then he's out of football 2 years later. I mean, that happens all the time at that position. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I say disinterested or disengaged only because I'm not saying he doesn't care. Obviously, I think the guy cares and would like to perform, but for some reason, doesn't he seem lethargic?
Yeah.
Yes.
He seems sluggish. He seems like, and I get it. Listen, when you start talking about money and people's money is how people equate their worth. And when he put up those numbers last year, he did it with 5 or so different quarterbacks. He was out there. He probably feels like, I'm one of the main reasons we went to the playoffs last year.
He was.
And he was. Yeah. And, Nick Chubb wasn't there. Deshaun Watson wasn't there. A lot of the guys on offense was not there. So he feels like I put these numbers up. And I put up the all-time record for, receptions or receiving yards in the game. So he's thinking they might at least offer me something. But then they bring Jerry Jeudy in, and sight unseen, they give him an extension. Mm-hmm. You're like, okay, all right. Then his name is being mentioned with Brandon Ayuk. So you're like, I don't like that. Yeah. But didn't drug on for a little period of time, right? And so it looks like, and sometimes you can feel a certain way until somebody pull you aside and say, "Come on, man, we need you to Come on, bro. Like the quarterback, got to be like, yo, dog. I see you, bro.
I get why he feel the way he feel for sure, but I also am a realist to know, like, if you don't want this to be the end period, you still got to perform. And everybody knows that. Like, everybody knows that. Okay, even if the organization dogged him and didn't give him anything, and he still decided to play, like, you still got to play for the next team. So I'm not, my only thing with it all is that the scheme that we running right now is still it's not been like an open thing. It's all been pretty short concepts, short routes. If I'm playing DB, like, why am I threatened? Why would I not flat foot everything? So it makes it harder to get open and stuff like that. Now, the drops, I can't justify that. I don't know what he got going on with the drops. But as far as him getting open, like, that can be effective. If we ain't got nobody stretching the field and we ain't running double moves or none of that, like, if I'm playing corner on Amari, why wouldn't I just flat foot it? Why wouldn't I sit at 10 and just come straight down?
The other thing, the one variable that's changed is offensive coordinator, right? With Ken Dorsey, I guess I just wonder, to your point, are they running the routes where he's comfortable getting open?
Well, think about last year. What did I tell y'all his best route? The bang 8. We ain't seen a bang 8 yet.
Well, and that's, we saw a lot of those when Flacco was in there, because
that's true too.
He can throw those. That was Bernie Kosar's favorite route.
Flacco got a mean arm though. Flacco, you know what I'm saying? Cutting butter.
Wait a minute, according to Quincy Avery, Deshaun's stuff is better than before the injury.
Hey, listen, Flacco got one of the best arms
still
ever.
I'm just telling you. I'm just saying.
Like, it just is what it is. He throw that thing effortlessly.
By the way, I got an email from Quincy Avery's mom. She says she's Quincy Avery's mom. I guess I don't know that for sure. Yeah.
Was it bad or good?
Yeah.
Or do you want to keep that to yourself?
I can't remember. It was I don't remember what it was about specifically. It might have been about, I think it was about the latest accusation on Watson. It wasn't like bad or good, really.
I was just trying to
keep
see.
that to yourself.
I don't know. I don't know. Anyway. Quincy
Avery, if you're listening, hey, we want you on the show, bro. Come on over.
Well, remember he mentioned me that one time because
did.
I don't know what I had said about Deshaun Watson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can't.
They called you by name.
Yeah.
Adam the Bull.
We can't. I can't make Jason Lloyd or Jay act right. No, I'm playing. Yeah. No, come on the show, bro. We want to pull up, man. We have a conversation, man.
Or we'll have Aditi's coming on at 11:30, and then we'll have Mary Kay at 12, right?
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay.
Real quick on the offense, Cooper, all of the above for you guys. And we talked about it yesterday, so I want to ask Dustin and Tyvis. But we also saw more of a running game, an emphasis on the running game. They ran for over 100 yards, which they didn't come close to in week one. Mm-hmm. When the running game is helping out and adding to the passing attack with Deshaun, who played better, is that going to open up another layer to what Dorsey, Stefanski, that whole offensive staff can come up with against the Giants?
For sure.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty obvious answer. There's no doubt the running attack has been such a vital part of the Stefanski offense since he's been here. Obviously, Nick Chubb is a big reason why they've been able to have that success. But no, you saw Foreman. It was even the announcers were surprised he started the game. He gets the first carry of the game. They're like, and that's is that Kareem? No, that's Foreman. It's like, man, you kind of forget who our backs are because Nick Chubb, you're so used to him getting so many carries. But it was nice for them to get things going. And I do think that opened up things in the passing game for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought Foreman played pretty well.
Yeah.
His yards per carry don't look good.
He showed a nice burst, though. Like, when he got the ball, it wasn't like he was hesitant. He just looked like he was going to just, boom,
He's
go.
quick through the hole.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, my only issue with him is it's been 2 times.
Yeah.
He got stoned on the 1 yard line. It happened once in the preseason and it happened last week.
Well, who cares about the preseason? But, yeah.
It happened. And I'm just.
You can't let it go.
Yeah. I need to. You got to run straight through that thing.
How about, speaking of getting stopped at the 1 yard line, I mentioned this yesterday, but as defensive players, you guys probably appreciate this. Not that we're doing much tackling, but how about that tackle by JOK?
Can we talk? You want to talk about JOK for a minute?
Sure, go ahead.
Just the fact that I think that he is the 1,000% straw that stirs the drink with this defense. I mean, I think Jim
More
Schwartz.
than Myles Garrett?
I do.
Wow.
I do.
Told you, Dave. I told you.
I think he can impact a game. This may sound crazy. He can impact a game more than Myles Garrett because he does more. He's more versatile in what he does because they can blitz him. They can put him on. I mean, I think when you look at between JOK and Grant Delpit at safety.
Yeah, he had a big hit too.
Those two guys specifically who have some of the most unbelievable defensive instincts I've ever seen, where they can be turned loose and unleashed, where JOK can shoot his gun and go shoot the gap. Yeah. Where he can cover a linebacker, cover a slot receiver if he has to, and then Delpit can get inside the box. You saw how things shut down so quickly defensively.
Right.
And again, this is not a slight on Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett is amazing. He's going to probably go to the Hall of Fame. But those two dudes on the defense is it's so much fun to watch because there's not a lot of guys that play that fast that know where to be and are smart.
Delpit has just got to stay healthy. That's been his problem.
Well, but he's been healthy now, and last year really turned it on.
Right, and that's where we've seen the difference.
I think you got two guys. Well, maybe you got two guys that I think they either really study film or Jim Schwartz have given them a really simple game plan. Because to your point, especially JOK, I've never seen somebody that can dissect something so fast and just hit it, and he gets through all the time and makes plays. I mean, it was a reason why did he lead the league in TFLs last year?
Tied for third.
Yeah, the dude,
all pro.
Some of the stuff, I'll be like, how in the world, how did you know that? You knew before the snap that the ball was going here, and I'm going to shoot this gap, and he gets through there. I guess due to the fact that he's fast and that he's
we
slim.
Went to Ohio State, he went to Notre Dame. There's a reason.
That's true. He's definitely smart. He's definitely smart, but it is kind of crazy. But they also allow Jordan Hicks to blitz now, and he be getting home. So I think when we talked about, me and G was talking about what they need to do differently, they need to do something else. I think they got tired of our D-line is supposed to be the engine, it's supposed to be really good. But if they're not getting home, if they're not getting the pressure like they're supposed to, let's add one more guy to the party and let's get 5-on-5. So that therefore Myles can't be double teamed. And let me get to Aditi, but go ahead.
Before we do, real quick, 5 seconds each, literally 5 seconds. Can you ever recall a player improving as much as JOK has the last couple of years?
Not off the top of the head.
On the top of my head, no.
Right? I mean, it's crazy. 2 years ago, he was terrible.
Well, he better be good because he worked with DeQuell Jackson, and DeQuell Jackson said that if he don't look good, DeQuell Jackson was down on him.
It's amazing.
Therefore, he better have looked good, or it'd have been DeQuell's fault.
Let's go to Mike, who's going to bring Aditi in.
We'll bring Aditi in 1 sec. After a quick word from LinkedIn Talent Solutions, when you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just a job board. It helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job but might be open to the perfect role. In any given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. You can hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That is linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Aditi joins us now. And Aditi, I'm not sure if you caught the end of that, but Dustin said he thinks JOK may impact the game defensively more than JOK does, more than Myles Garrett. Would you agree with that?
I don't disagree with him. And Adam, you have to remember, JOK, you're talking about his improvement. He's healthy. I mean, the last 2 years, he's been a lot more healthy than he was at the start of his career. And he's also, P.S., embraced vegetarianism. So maybe there's something to that.
Oh, boy, here we go.
Oh, boy.
Vegetarian propaganda. By the way, Dee texted me last week, and I just ghosted you. I didn't even text you back. That was a terrible job out of me.
You know what? This is how busy I am and how crazy I am. I didn't even
realize.
notice.
Yeah. That's how relevant you are, Adam.
What's that?
That's how relevant you are.
That's how important I am.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I started this as an apology, and now I'm offended.
No, please don't be.
Really.
Seriously, I'm just saying that all the things we have going on in our lives, don't carry any guilt over that.
Yeah,
I'm not
okay.
feeling bad about
Hey,
it.
Fair
Didi,
enough.
And when I feel bad, I tell you, I'm like,
That's
hey,
true.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
So,
You know, leave it to the liberals. They're always.
I was triggered.
and we got to bring politics into
I
this?
was
Seriously? Gee, is that necessary?
I was triggered.
He's my buddy.
Yeah. G's a liberal too. It's okay.
Sure about that?
I'm sure. Aditi, let's get into the
Oh,
Browns. Let's get into the Browns and Deshaun Watson. We were talking before. Overall, on this panel, at least, everybody was pretty happy with Watson's performance. Certainly, we've lowered the bar, I think, a little for our expectations at the moment. But what did you think about his performance? And should we lower the bar, at least in the short term, for him?
You know, it's funny because I had the Steelers this past week, and in Pittsburgh, obviously the conversation is Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, and what do you do, and has Fields done enough? And this is relevant to this because I'm sitting here, the way that we as fans assess quarterback play is very, very different than the way coaches are looking at what they need. And right now, week 2 of the season, where everybody seems to be playing ugly, ugly, ugly football. September football has become what August football once was. And I think it was you, Adam, who might have even said that last week. And so really, it's one of those things where the letters matter way more than the numbers. It's what can you do, W. And when we were talking to the Steelers coaches about Justin Fields, I think the thing that stands out most to me about him is that he is desperate to hold on to this starting job, and yet he's not getting greedy. He knows that the Steelers are playing very ugly ball right now, but that's what the coaches are asking him to do. They're asking him not to turn the ball over. They're asking him to play smart situational football. They're asking him to be smart with his decision making, and so he is. And is he showing the flash and the splash that fans want? No, but he's doing exactly what the coaches are asking to get out of a building with a W. And so in that sense, you're looking at Deshaun Watson and you're saying, oh, where is the $230 million arm? Where's all that flash? Where's the splash? Right now, the Browns just need to stack some wins. They just need to play some clean football, and they can build off of that. And in some ways, maybe I hate to say treading water until Nick Chubb gets back, but maybe it's just, all right, let's just keep our footing until feel like we're more comfortable, until we feel like we're ready to push the envelope a little bit. So in that sense, okay, Deshaun did what he needed to do. And at some point, you know what? If you win by 30 or you win by 3, you don't get any extra points. Not right now. I mean, yes, I know at some point win differential makes a difference, but right now you just need to stack those wins. You need to feel a little good about yourselves.
Aditi, let me take you to the defensive side of the ball because they played lights out in the first half. I mean, they held Trevor Lawrence to 16 yards. And ironically, one of their players was on a snap count. And once he was out, it was a big difference. And this is the second year we've noticed that when Denzel is not on the field, there's a major difference and a major cause for concern. Do you think that this is something, I think they said it's like a shoulder injury. Do you think this is something that's going to linger? Do you think he's going to be on another snap count moving forward? How long do you think this lasts?
Okay, so to be honest with you, I don't have exact information on that, so I don't want to speculate there. But I think that it's smart to do this now because you don't want what is a small problem to turn into a big problem. So again, you're doing what you need to do to get a win. And right now you can get by with Denzel not giving you 60 snaps a game. So don't push the envelope right now because you need him to get healthy. And again, you don't want what might be a minor injury to turn into a major one, and then you have him for 0 snaps. So, and obviously the team is so much better when he's playing. I mean, come on, he's one of the premier corners in the game. Of course he changes the game.
Aditi, you are everywhere in terms of covering these other games and getting a chance to talk to coaches and guys around the league, players too. What do you make of the quarterback throwing yards? Right, offenses seem to be a tiny bit down, but
good.
Brock Purdy is leading the league, averaging 275 yards per game. I think there's only 5 or 6 quarterbacks over 250.
Pat Mahomes it hasn't looked. What
I
do you
mean-
make of it?
To
What
tell
do
him
you
the
make of it?
DB play is
Look,
just
I've seen the
outrageous.
Broncos
Broncos
percentages
and
up
rookie quarterback
early.
Bo Nix twice in a row, and now I get the Panthers and the Raiders. So
Oh,
I don't
God.
know that I'm the expert on offensive football right now. Even the Seahawks, week 1, Geno Smith, who openly told us that he believes he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I mean, there were 2 safeties in the first half. It's been bad offensive
Wait a second,
football.
Aditi. Are you saying you're not excited
But
to watch
again, it all comes back to nobody's playing in the preseason, and nobody's playing together in the preseason, and nobody's getting those reps as a unit, and so it's ugly everywhere right now.
You're not
And
excited?
Again, I think this is a byproduct of the preseason not becoming a time where people actually play games.
She's 1,000% right, by the
Becoming
way.
a time. Sorry, I had too many negatives in there.
All right,
Basically,
sorry.
play in the preseason so that you look a little bit better in September.
Dog,
That's how I feel.
Didn't Patty play every preseason game?
He does because Coach Reed is old school. So
Yes, he
maybe
is.
there's
Are-
a connection there.
Are you insinuating that the coaches are getting soft?
You know, it's funny because actually it was Andrew Berry that I was talking to about this. And Andrew Berry brought up the point that, you know, the Chiefs and the Eagles were in the Super Bowl together a few years ago. And the Chiefs played their starters all through the preseason. And the Eagles played no one in the preseason. So, like, how do you know which is the right answer? Clearly one worked for the Chiefs and the other way worked for the Eagles. So it's very easy to say one size fits all, but clearly that's not the way that it goes. I like to see guys play. I like, personally, for me, that I round games before I have week 1 with CBS. I feel like I need those reps. I feel like I need to knock the rust off. So for me, that works.
Tom Brady
I mean,
definitely
you guys
needed the
play.
reps.
You
He
tell
sucked
me,
week 1.
isn't it nice to get some snaps before it actually counts?
It is. Why are you taking shots at Brady? Bull?
Because Tom Brady was terrible in week
It was his
1.
first game.
Okay.
And you don't have
He got
to.
paid
It
$20
was
million.
his first
He
game.
doesn't get
didn't
first.
get preseason reps. Maybe Tom Brady should have called some preseason games.
He
for
should have.
somebody.
Yeah.
Should have. Yeah.
But he was, but the key was Tom Brady was ostensibly better week 2 than he was week 1. So
I didn't
that's
hear
what we're
week
hoping.
two. What
game did he-
Is that we see them.
He
stack
had
better
the
performances.
Cowboys yesterday. Cowboys Saints. Yeah. Hey, what was I was going to ask about? I totally blanked. Oh, Baker
You're
Mayfield.
gonna ask me
And-
about Riley Moss?
No,
again?
well,
'Cause
I will.
Riley Moss.
I'll get to some white cornerback talk here momentarily. But in the meantime, Baker Mayfield in Tampa Bay has him 2-0. Very impressive the way that they've been playing.
Love it.
Nobody
Sorry,
thought.
Adam,
I
cover
don't
your
think
ears, but I
Hey,
love.
he didn't play that well this week. Let's not get nuts.
Oh my!
they beat the
be a
freaking
hater.
Lions on the road,
He
dude.
threw his typical big pick, and he got
Don't
bailed
be a
out.
hater. Don't be a hater.
I thought you were just raving about the kid.
I think Baker's playing. I think he's playing good
He's
football.
playing well.
All right,
Good
so I
football.
did have a question in there somewhere.
Go ahead.
So
Okay.
can
Go
they
over here.
win the NFC South? Which I think the answer is probably going to be yes. And what, like, can
Saints
Baker
playing
Mayfield
well.
do something in the playoffs?
Yes. Yes. Haven't you already seen Baker Mayfield do something in the playoffs? Didn't he do something in the playoffs in the city of Pittsburgh?
Yeah. Okay.
Come on. That
you know what?
completely falling apart.
I will tell you, because I've gotten to spend a bit of time with Baker these last 2 years, he is not the same person. Like the edge, the competitiveness, the good teammate, all of that is there. But there are so many other things. The maturation and the perspective he has, the way that he's calmed down in a lot
Love
of
it.
ways. And it's not just baby. I mean, Baker has, and I don't want to sound patronizing when I say this, but Baker has really grown up and matured a lot over the course of the last few years. And this journey of the messiness in departing Cleveland, the messiness in Carolina, the quick opportunity in LA. I mean, he's really found a home in Tampa Bay. And again, Adam, I'm sorry, this is where we disagree, but I'm really happy for him. I like him a lot. I've really enjoyed him the last few years, and I think that he can do a lot of things.
He's
and
never
I know
done
that
any bad
Kevin
to you,
Stefanski
Bull.
was not
Certainly.
lying. I know that Kevin Stefanski thought he could win with Baker, and he wasn't lying and just saying that to say that.
You certainly owe no apologies. I'm kind of being a dick. Oh, I'm not supposed to say that. No more cursing.
Really?
Bad job,
Even on the
editing.
internet?
Yeah, I can't. Anyway.
Mikey,
at least
where's
not-
your
not
leave
today, Bull.
button?
I've been a jerk about. I've been a little too harsh on Baker. I thought he was very immature when he was here. I didn't like his cocky attitude, and I thought he made more excuses. He broke the record for most excuses by a quarterback. But in fairness, he has shown a lot of maturity in Tampa. He's played very well, and he deserves credit for that, no doubt. I mean,
his team. Look, I'm cutting you off, but his teammates
Yeah.
love him. When Mike Evans, who has played with all the quarterbacks he's played with, including Tom Brady, and says that he is the best rapport with Baker and that he enjoys playing Baker with the most. I mean, and Mike Evans is the most un-diva-like future Hall of Famer that maybe I've ever met. I don't know. It's just
Right.
Adam. He's different.
I think he had to leave Cleveland, though, for that to happen.
Probably
don't you think?
Probably so.
I think he had to leave.
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that I don't know that he had to leave Cleveland, but
All right.
it's a moot point. It's a moot point.
Yeah, but I mean, here's the thing: would he have matured the way that he has? And
hadn't been humble.
I totally agree with you. I think in life you have to be humbled, like Bull said.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. But
That's
thank
fair,
you.
but I
Yeah.
also think the Odell stuff humbled him some. You know?
Yeah, but
I think
Aditi,
the
this
Odell
wasn't
messiness
like
was-
the Cleveland thing. Like he went to Carolina, didn't work in like 3 teams in a year.
Yeah.
Like that is humbling for a guy who won the Heisman Trophy, was a first overall pick. Like to go all of a sudden you got the world by the cojones, and then you're on 3-4 teams. Like
But
I don't
Dustin,
know.
it's
That
not
would do a
only-
lot.
It's not only the humility, because a year ago I had a conversation with Baker, and we were talking about, once he left LA and he knew he had to sign with someone, what went into the decision making to choose Tampa, because he had a few choices. And I don't want to totally say that because it might come off as insulting to previous stops, but I think that, it's just like when you're dating someone, you think maybe matter, but then maybe you realize that you really need D, E, and F. So in each stop, you learn what actually matters most to you, or each person that you go out with, you learn what are kind of your deal breakers and what are your necessary things. And I think Baker also in that experience realized, okay, these are things I can be flexible with, but this is something that I absolutely have to have. And he made a very, very smart decision in choosing Tampa, because Tampa had organizationally, structurally, what he was looking for.
Speaking of, Baker, he's put it together. He's started to, put some building blocks together, start trending in the right way, playing good football. Deshaun Watson played a much better game than he played, the first game against the Cowboys. But what do you expect in terms of building blocks for Deshaun Watson and the Browns offense? What do you want to see improvement on against the Giants, and what are some things they can do to kind of continue to build this offense to get it to a point where they think it should be at?
I mean, everything. I think you want to see, I'll give you a Mike Tomlin line. He said, the more splash you see, that means the more comfortable you are. So even though I just told you a few minutes ago, you don't necessarily need explosion right now. You need the W. You need to do whatever it is you need to do to win. You do want to see a little bit more of the splash. I mean, all anybody was talking about during camp is that Deshaun, when he's good, is as good as he's ever been. And that Deshaun is this unbelievably unique, singular, dynamic athlete. Okay, so as you get more comfortable, let's see that. And the Browns have the benefit of having more than one star receiver. Okay, yes, you have Amari, but you also have Jerry Jeudy. You also are expecting more out of Elijah Moore. Let's see it. You have David Njoku. You have, like these things, these weapons that you have, use them and let's see what you can do. And again, you just want to see more comfort. And I think that the more explosion, the more dynamism, the more splash, again, that you see is a sign of comfort. And again, we didn't see Deshaun in the preseason. So obviously, week 1 was rusty and ugly. Okay, so week 2 was a little bit better. Now week 3 should be a little bit better than week 2.
Aditi, good stuff. We appreciate it as always. We had a good connection today, which was great.
I know. Awesome,
It's
right?
like 4K there. It looks great.
Exactly. So, all right,
I
we'll
don't know if
talk.
I should be in 4K at the moment. Sorry. No big eyelashes.
And you got Andy Dalton versus Gardner Minshew. What every kid dreams of.
And she's going to Vegas, dude.
That's true. You are going to Vegas.
Yeah,
And
you know
Minshew-
what though, Dustin? I'll tell you, Vegas is not my kind of town. I'm
Yeah,
not
no.
really-
Yeah, I feel it.
They don't have a
you.
lot of vegan food in Vegas.
Yeah,
It's
but
not
hey,
that.
listen.
It's like there's just so much cigarette smoke, and I'm
Ugh.
like, gambler.
You can listen. You can do more in Vegas than gamble and cocaine and hookers. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can do in Vegas that are fun. A lot of good shows. out there.
And that's what I'll tell my husband. Because we have so much time when we're on these football weekends. Exactly.
Hey,
I have time to go to the Sphere. And
I was gonna say, can you at least go to the Sphere?
Maybe a gun range. You never know, Aditi. All right, we'll see you next week. Good luck this week.
All right, bye guys. Have fun.
See you later.
That was Aditi Kinkhabwala, as always. Guys, we're looking to get tickets to an upcoming Browns game, a Guardians game, a Cavs game, a live concert, a comedy show, whatever you want. There's no easier place to get your tickets online than with the Game Time app. And the Game Time app has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier than before. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. On the Game Time Picks feature, you can still see the panoramic view from your seat on the app before you buy, and your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the entire ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying your tickets online with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. Well, you mentioned this a little earlier.
Yep.
About NFL defenses adjusting and adapting to the times. We showed the stat earlier about the touchdown passes down 37% from just 3 years ago. A lot of that is due to teams playing too high safeties. Mina Kimes tweeted out that in week 1, 61% of snaps across the entire NFL from a defensive standpoint featured too high safeties. And with our 2 former NFL defensive backs on, I figured this was the perfect day to ask this question. What makes, from an offensive perspective, going up against these too high safety looks so difficult and challenging to sustain and then eventually score in the red zone? Why is that the newest trend in the NFL, Tyvis? And is there a counter coming from an offensive standpoint to kind of buck the trend and swing the pendulum back into the favor of the offensive side?
Well, I think it eliminates explosive plays. I mean, you think about how people get down the field quickly is because they get a deep shot, post route or something like that. If you got 2 safeties that's deep, corners know, all right, if I get beat deep, I got a safety that's over the top. These quarterbacks have to be very accurate to be able to drop it in the basket between 2 defenders. That's very hard to do, and you're risking a lot. So I think that's why when you think about Patty Mahomes, you think about Josh Allen, you think about these quarterbacks with these strong arms, you wanted to eliminate those explosive and go to Bill Belichick route. Make these drives 15, 16 play drives, because in those 15 or 16 plays, there's going to be a holding call. There's going to be an offsides. There's going to be something that goes on that's going to derail that entire drive, and you're going to get off the field. So I think, especially early on, that's why. And then you want these quarterbacks, they got to warm their arm up. For them not playing in the preseason, it's hard to go out there and just rip things deep. So everybody's progression, starting slow and then building their way up as the game goes on to opening up the ball and getting the ball down the field. So I think running this too high look is great. Now, you got to have really good receivers. How to counter this is what you see the Browns do, or you see a lot of these other teams do. Get a Debo, get the run mesh routes, make them crisscross so they can get rubbed off, get the ball in the receiver's hand. You need to chill out. You got to chill out. You got to chill. You get the ball in the receiver's hands and let them make plays with their legs. Stop it, G. Stop it, because it really wasn't that bad. It really was not that bad. But get the ball in these receivers' hands and let them make plays with their legs, and that's what you're starting to see.
Dustin?
Yeah, I mean, listen, you took the words out of my mouth when you mentioned Belichick, because that was the first thing that I thought of, is that you force teams to be methodical and go down the field, 11, 12, 15 plays. It just doesn't happen that often. It's difficult, because things happen. Penalties happen. You got to convert third downs. The Browns converted 2 out of 14. Like, those are not easy downs to convert. What they're trying to do, I think that all these cover 2 looks basically are teams trying to stop Patrick Mahomes, essentially, because of the big plays. And those are how a team like the Chiefs are able to thrive. And if you make them continue to go down and not, have these huge chunk plays that give them multiple scoring opportunities, it's huge. I played at Ohio State with Jim Tressel and Mark D'Antonio as our coordinator, and we were a bend but don't break defense like crazy. Anybody watching the show remembers the early 2000 Buckeyes? That's what we were. We played cover 3. I gave tons of cushion. I heard tons of people going crazy about how bad I suck at playing corner. The coaches told me to play 7 yards off and back up. Let's cover 3. Like, that's what we did. However, it worked. You know, we were fine with letting teams go 75 yards and take 3 points. 3 points. Yeah. I mean, we made it low-scoring games. The Browns need to do that. The Browns like yesterday's game where they score 1 touchdown. I'm not saying that's ideal, but to be able to still win a game like that, like the Steelers are playing right now too, that's huge.
I think teams that prioritize the run game, and it might sound stupid, the run game's travel, man. And look, if you want to, teams get kind of intoxicated with them big plays. When you throwing the ball downfield, it look real sexy. It feels good to drop bombs on people, and guys are getting 75-yard touchdowns, and the Tyreek Hills of the world is moving around and doing all this other stuff. Some of the stuff that they're doing is, all right, well, now because you are a predominant passing team, now you're relinquished to and vanquished to, like, hey, these little dink and dunk and check down stuff, more like almost an inverted West Coast feel where you're letting guys get run after catch. But the teams that are going to mix in, that's why Kevin Stefanski, you look at this high power offense that they touted and all this other stuff. I think Kevin Stefanski week 2 said, hold on. I'm comfortable with 4 or 5 linemen in the game. I'm comfortable with running the football. And you notice when you got linebackers or corners that got to come up and tackle people, like now all of a sudden I do a little run fake and I stick the ball out there. Now magically I got a whole lot of space because you got to respect that.
Well, to go off of that, when you think about how the linebacker body type is transitioned, because it's been more of a passing league. So we don't see the Brian Urlachers at linebacker anymore. You see the JOKs because these guys can move in space. They can cover guys.
Yeah.
Now the run game becomes more important because trying to make a smaller guy deal with that like this over 17 games, their body's going to take a beating at some point, and it's not going to be the same. So that run game, to G's point, maybe not so more towards the beginning, but towards the end of the year is going to be a big difference.
There's a lot of interesting things at play here. We've seen a trend in the last couple of years of of passing yards going down, of long touchdowns going down, but at least through the first 2 weeks, it's been a dramatic change.
But Adam, I think this is just anything where it's almost like a stock market where things are going to go high, they're going to go. Yeah. People are going to figure out how to slow teams down. I remember in the early 2000s, it was Northwestern football, and Zach Kustok was the quarterback, and they ran this spread offense that blew everyone away in college football. They had 5 wide receivers, and their spread, and it took forever. Purdue did it too, by the way, with Kyle Orton and company, and John Standiford, and these guys, Taylor Stubblefield running those little bubble screens. Guess what? Teams figured it out.
Yeah.
And those teams couldn't do it anymore at the high clip that they could. And I'm not saying that it's gone, but teams are figuring out how to stop a Patrick Mahomes, how to stop a Lamar Jackson. And to your guys' point about the linebackers like JOK, those guys help with everything.
I think it's going to be fascinating to see going forward. Are we getting back to the days where we're going to run the ball a lot more?
Yeah.
I mean, in recent years, the Ravens and maybe the Eagles have been the only teams that run more than they pass. I mean, it used to be years ago everybody did, and then it was like 50-50. Now it's like, well, every team throws more than they run.
Are you saying?
But I wonder if we're going to see that.
You saying running backs are important again? I tell you what.
But here's the thing: if you're a team and you're paying these quarterbacks a ton of money, it's interesting. But there's going to be other teams that are like, well, we can pay a running back nothing, and now I saw a stat the other day where they have all these analytics, where running plays have now, for the first time in like 17 years, become a more efficient play than a passing play. I don't know how they figure that out.
Well, probably for the first 2 weeks. For
the first 2 weeks. And what is interesting, though, and Mike, I don't know if we can figure this out, if we have this information, but I looked to see how many, because I said, well, they're all throwing shorter passes, right? We're seeing more dinking and dunking
underneath
down the
stuff.
field. Yeah. So I said, I wonder if guys are completing a higher percentage of passes. There are 16 quarterbacks so far this year, it's only 2 games obviously, that have completed 67% of their passes or higher. Last year there were 9 for the season. Now that's a whole year.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was after week 2, but I bet it wasn't 16. 67% is a high completion percentage. Right now, Joe Burrow's like 14th at 68%. Like last year, that would have been 6th or 7th. So guys are throwing a bunch of short passes. So we're seeing a more efficient passing game, I guess, in a way. But it's just not producing big plays.
I tell you,
real quick. So what exactly do you want to look up? I'll find it for you.
Percentage
Completion percentage after week 2 last year.
Yeah.
I got you.
Thank you.
I tell you what, G-Dub, Greg Williams was 6 to 7 years too early.
Yep, he had dudes playing.
Because he had, when I was there for the OTAs, we
Yeah.
was playing 22 yards off the ball.
Oh, my God.
Jabril Peppers, remember?
Peppers was at midfield, and they were at the
22
10-yard line.
yards off the
Didn't he
ball.
just get a new contract with? What is he?
He's actually been a pretty good player.
I thought he was with the Patriots. He ain't with the Patriots?
Oh,
no
the
more?
Patriots. You're right.
He's been here.
I'm about to say, he been pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Well, here's what you do: you zig when they zag. Like, if I'm a coach and I'm seeing the evolution of the passing game, and you got to think about it, it starts at a high school level. Kids are more used to throwing the football, catching the football at lower divisions in high school, college than ever before. If you are now a coach and you're in the NFL, you're thinking about it. All right, what's my advantage? If I don't, yes, I have a quarterback that I'm paying a lot of money to, but that's just the price of engagement, right? But all things aren't equal. Trevor Lawrence makes a boatload of money. Is he better than Patrick Mahomes? No. So yes, you in theory have a franchise quarterback. However, you don't have the same output that they have. So where can I get an advantage? Well, look, if they're going to come out with small linebackers and they got everybody's a rush end and there's no really huge 3 techniques anymore, or the Tony Saragusas and the Adams of the world and the big linebackers, and safeties are now corners. The new safeties are corners, right?
That's true.
And so now what I'll do is I'll say, okay, well, here's how we're going to work this thing. We're going to come out in our 12 personnel, and we're going to run this football.
Yeah.
And now it puts the onus on the defense to say, look, man, do you want your small linebackers and safeties that ain't even really tackling people?
Yeah.
They got to come up and make these plays.
I don't know about that because C.J. Gardner-Johnson's met Bijan in the hole.
Yeah. And I wonder, wonder if
ooh.
it's going to change now over the next few years. You know, when I was a kid, I'm all older than all you guys, like, every team had a fullback, but not just a fullback. It was a fullback that was kind of like a running back, too. Mm-hmm. He was just like a bigger running back.
Mike
I
Allstott.
mean, Roger Craig was a fullback. You think of him as a great player.
John
He was a
Riggins,
fullback.
man.
John Riggins was a fullback.
Shout out to Lawrence
And
Vickers.
I wonder if you'll
Larry
start...
Vickers, man.
The great Larry
Larry
Vickers.
Vickers,
Our fans
man.
love him.
That's funny.
I wonder if we'll see... I wonder if 3 years from now, 5 years from now, we'll see... Because back in those days, in the late 70s and the 80s, you had a lot of teams that had 2 feature running backs. And, like, you don't really have that anymore.
You want the fullback to come back.
Well, whether it's the fullback coming back, which I think is part of it,
Hey,
or
we
just
do.
having 2 stud backs, because I could pay 2 stud backs $25 million total and have just a decent quarterback. Can I win that way now? For the last decade, I've been saying you can't win without a great quarterback. You can't win without a great quarterback. Maybe that's changing again. We'll see.
I don't know that we'll
see. I'm not ready to go that far yet.
After 2 weeks, but I do think that there is some evolution to the game.
Yeah.
I mean, look at us wearing all these retro kicks, Jordan kicks. I mean, things always sort of come back, right?
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know, man. There's more than one way to win a football game.
That's it. There are 5,000 ways to win a football game, and sometimes
It's philosophy, man.
You don't know which way it's going to take. Hey, you get into a game and it's close, all bets are off.
Yeah.
In the second quarter, all bets are off.
I don't think we're at the point where it was like that Ravens team that won with like nobody at quarterback. Or I don't think we're
Trent
that
Dilfer,
there.
wasn't it?
But like maybe you can win with an average quarterback. Maybe you don't have to be great. Like you can't win with
Is-
a terrible quarterback. But
Like a Flacco,
well, I would say like Baker.
like Baker.
Yeah, maybe you can. I don't know.
I mean, Jimmy G.
he's got to
Is
show he's not going to
Jared
throw a pick in the
Goff
playoffs.
an average quarterback to you?
I would say he's above average.
I think he's
in my
above
opinion.
average. Yeah.
trying to
Bull,
think of
what was
who
the
is
number you at?
average.
67%?
Yeah, how many quarterbacks through 2 weeks last year had a 67% completion percentage or better?
So I have the raw numbers, so
Yeah.
mental math. According to my mental math, which
You're
maybe
not good at
slightly
that.
off. Jared Goff, Geno Smith,
Yeah,
Tua,
yeah.
and I think that's it.
So if Mike's math is right, it's probably off. So let's say there's 5 guys.
Give or take. It's nowhere near. It's nowhere near what it was.
According to his math, there were 3 guys that completed 67% of their passes through 2 weeks last year. This year we have 16. And what that tells you, they're throwing short. It's all these short passes, screen passes, quick slants, whatever. It's just
so why pay them all that money?
Well, I mean, that could be the next trend.
So the interesting thing is, Brock Purdy's the next guy that's probably up, right, to get paid.
And he's actually leading the league in passing yards per game right now.
What do you think happens the first quarterback? The first quarterback that's like, we not. Everybody else is getting 60. We giving you 40.
Well, that's a conversation for another day, guys, because we got to bring in Mary Kay Cabot. Sorry, Tyvis.
We're going to bring in our Hall of Fame after a quick word from FanDuel. If there was a Hall of Fame for sportsbooks, FanDuel's would be a first ballot. Unanimous inductee, no doubt. And you guys have heard us talk about FanDuel before. It's America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, they're offering a little something different for everyone now through September 22nd. All FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with the YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime you want. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to download America's #1 sportsbook. And with that, we have Mary Kay Cabot joining the show. Mary Kay, welcome back from Jacksonville. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, guys. How you doing?
We're good, Mary Kay. Improvement from Deshaun Watson was good to see. What did you think of his performance?
Well, I think he went out there and really showed that that he was going to be able to put this team on his back and carry it to victory, and that he wasn't going to let all of the outside stuff get to him. Last week, he was written off as broken and finished, and I think he went out there and showed that reports of his demise were premature. And so I think that was very important. And I think the players really rallied around him, and I thought that showed something. I think they do have his back. Last week, we were showing videos of Joel Bitonio supposedly blowing him off and slapping his hand away, and people surmising that his teammates didn't like him. I thought his teammates went out and showed that they really wanted to do everything they can to close ranks around him and go out there and help him win.
Mary Kay, I want to ask you about the second half of this game. Obviously, the first half, offense and defense was very good, but second half, Jacksonville's offense got going and our defense kind of took a step back and our offense kind of slowed down a little bit. What is it about the second half adjustments? Because I don't think it's just something that we seen last week. It's been something that's probably been going on for a couple of years now. What do you think it is about halftime adjustments with this coaching staff?
Yeah, I think they do have to work on that. I think when you do your after-action report, it's something that they're going to have to take a look at, because you can't go in the tank in the second half of games. Now, last week, I thought it was the opposite for the defense, where they actually came out and had a much better second half than they did the first half. So I don't necessarily think this is a trend or something that they're going to really have to worry about going forward. On the offensive side of the ball, I think they are definitely in find their identity mode. I don't think they really know exactly who they are yet or what they are. I think they know what they wanted to be, and I think they have to figure out if they can be that. Now, when I look at this offensive game plan, we all know it was vastly different from the week before, but if you had told me that they would win no David Njoku, and with Amari Cooper catching only 3 of 8 passes for 11 yards, I don't know if I would have put that down in the victory column. I think that was a big issue in this game. I think Deshaun is trying to find completions. He's trying to find his way with some players. And right now, it's been a bit of a struggle.
Mary Kay, we took a look and you talked about the struggles with, Amari Cooper. You take a look at David Bell. He got hurt a little bit, and he looks like he's going to be out for a sustained period of time. Can you tell us about what's going on with Kadarius Toney? What's the deal with him? Do the Browns have any plans for him? And how long will it take, if he is coming up, to see him on the field?
Well, he's getting up to speed in the offense. He's getting acclimated to his new team. So I don't know if he's going to be the next man up. They'll call him up from the practice squad or not. Certainly, he should be able to help out on some returns. So that would be helpful. And then I think having his speed on the field is something that's going to be vitally important for them as they move forward. But just in terms of who else they can look to that's on the field right now for help, Cedric Tillman, I think, is really a place where they can mine for some more completions and some more targets for him. As far as David Bell is concerned, he's out for the season with a dislocated hip. So unfortunately for him, that's not going to go the way they hoped this year. He was targeted for a lot more playing time. I think he's someone that could run those choice routes. But for right now, I think they're going to have to look to more Cedric Tillman, more Elijah Moore. And then when David comes back, then they should have pretty much their full complement of offensive skill players. But certainly Deshaun and Amar figure out what's going on between the two of them and get it fixed.
Mary Kay, I made the point earlier about JOK, how he might be more important to this defense than Myles Garrett, which may sound crazy to some people, but because of the way Jim Schwartz is using JOK, the way that he allows them defensively to be so multiple, do so many different things. I mean, Myles is, I think, a better football player probably overall. Like, he's going to be a Hall of Famer one day. But in terms of the impact, I think JOK is maybe the most important piece on the defense. What say you?
Well, he's certainly a very, very important piece on the defense. And I think they're still figuring out all the different things that he can do and the way he can make those big impact plays. I think that you can probably blitz him more. You can probably get him to the point where he can force more turnovers. He can spy on more people. I think there's so much that he can do from a physical standpoint, and he really seems to be hitting his stride as a football player in this scheme. So he certainly is amazing. And with all of these dual threat quarterbacks that they're playing, I think as they go along in the coming weeks, that he's going to make even more of an impact, both against the run and also on trying to keep these quarterbacks contained and limited. So I think it's going to be a really good season for him, probably a Pro Bowl season in his own right where he won't even have to just get added as an alternate.
Mary Kay, what is the latest on David Njoku? And in terms of Nick Chubb, have you heard anything about him being able to go on week 5?
Well, let's start with David Njoku. I was originally told that he would be out probably at least a couple of weeks. So will he be able to make it back this week? It's hard to say. We watched Trevor Lawrence come back last week, 6 days later, after a very gruesome ankle injury. So guys healed differently, and he's not ruled out yet for this weekend, and it will really help Deshaun if he can have David Njoku out there. So we'll see about that. And then as far as Nick Chubb is concerned, really haven't heard anything much. They're just giving him time he needs to continue to rehab. Week 5 might be a little bit soon. I would expect to see him maybe somewhere around midseason. Maybe they'll give him through the bye, let him come back after that. But I think they can get the running game accomplished even without Nick. I think the 1-2 punch of Jerome and Dante is going to work as they feel their way through it a little bit more.
Just to follow up on that, Mary Kay, is that just you haven't heard anything? You're just kind of speculating. It's just an educated guess on Nick Chubb, or have you heard anything that makes you really specifically believe that he won't be ready week 5 or 6?
It's really just an educated guess.
Okay.
You know, it's such a major surgery that he had to go through and a revision of a previous major knee reconstruction. I think they just don't want to rush it. They want to give him the time that he needs. So we don't know anything for sure yet. But I would think that somewhere around the midpoint, maybe we'll start to see him.
Mary Kay, I know last week we was getting a little bit closer to Jack and Jed, coming back. Is this the week that we see them? I know I talked to Nathan in the pregame, and he was talking about that, we should look to maybe see them this upcoming week. So what is your thoughts on that?
Well, I know they're getting closer. I know they look stronger in practice when we see them going mostly through the individual drills, but you can pick up a lot from those too. And they really look like they are starting to get to the point where they can be out there on the field testing out those surgically repaired knees. And I would probably go with Jack Conklin first and let him come in on certain downs. Maybe work him a little bit on third down for a while and ease him back in there and see how it goes. And if he's ready for a bigger workload, then go with it. But I think that's probably the way that it's going to go, and maybe they will even see him some this week.
What's going on with the pitch count, so to speak? This is the first time I heard of it from Tyvis. Denzel Ward, maybe a shoulder or something like that. What was going on with Denzel Ward? And is he 100% going into this game, or is it going to be more of a pitch count as well?
It will probably be another pitch count for Denzel Ward. He was on the injury report with a shoulder injury last week, but he practiced full go, so we didn't really think to make a big deal out of it. Sometimes they just throw a guy out there on an injury report, and if they're not missing practice, you kind of just let it go by the wayside. But for him to only play 11 snaps in this game, I thought that was really significant. He was not on the field when Trevor Lawrence threw that 66-yard bomb to Brian Thomas Jr. That's a play that he's going to get down there, and he's going to have a really good chance to break that play up. So I think it was significant that Denzel wasn't able to play very much. Maybe he'll be better this week. We'll probably delve into it. We will delve into it more so now that we know that it's a thing. This could be something that he has to deal with for the next few weeks.
Mary Kay, the Giants coming to town this week. We're sort of talking about a little bit there. Everyone thinks the Giants stink, and maybe they do. And they have, I guess, is probably the best way to put it. Daniel Jones gets this big contract. Everyone again thinks this guy stinks at football, and I mean he's not the best quarterback certainly in the world, but he has not been great. So I guess with that being said, the Browns are about a touchdown point favorite this weekend. Is this a game the Browns should just dominate?
I think so. I think the defense is going to have a lot to prove at Huntington Bank Field. I think they're going to want to go out there and be the dominant defense that we saw there last year, especially against some of the more inferior quarterbacks that they played there last year. So they should be licking their chops for this game. They should be going out and saying, we've got this. I think that you'll have some guys that maybe are a little bit healthier this week. We'll have to see how it's going with Miles with his foot injury. That's also something that you have to keep an eye on. But certainly Daniel Jones is a quarterback that they should have an easier time with than they did with, say, a Dak Prescott in the opener. And again, nobody was really ready for that game for whatever reason. And we also heard Bubba Ventrone call out the Browns' lack of effort and not playing hard enough. Well, that's not going to happen. They're going to be ready to play on Sunday at Huntington Bank, and Daniel Jones will probably have to pay the price for it.
By the way, the Browns are a 6.5-point favorite as of right now. Mary Kay, last thing. Amari Cooper's been a disaster through the first 2 weeks of the season. A lot of drops. He runs backwards after he had a first down that almost cost them. They had to get a first down on fourth down instead. He just doesn't seem like himself. What do you make of it so far?
It's really hard to get a grasp on it. And we did not talk to him after this game for whatever reason. Just by the time I got into the locker room, he wasn't around. I looked around for him and he wasn't there. So he might have scooted out of there, one of the earlier guys to be able to leave the locker room. So we didn't have a chance to ask him about his game. But certainly when we talk to him this week, and we do so every Thursday, he comes to the podium in the locker room, we'll have a chance to ask him kind of what's going on and, have the trade rumors gotten inside of his head? Is he okay physically? Are he and Deshaun Watson just taking their, time to get their chemistry and timing down a little bit? It's really hard to say what's going on with him, but he's such an important and key part of this offense that they really need him to be on top of his game, and I'm sure he's going to be looking to be that on Sunday.
Mary Kay, thank you. We appreciate you taking the time. Good stuff.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, Mary Kay, CabotCleveland.com. Good to chat with her as always. And, Mike, you got to read before I want to follow up on something she said there?
No, you can follow up, then I'll do a read.
All right. So, obviously we clarified, and she's not reporting this, guys, and maybe some of you guys assume this, I don't know, but she said she's not expecting Nick Chubb to come back till the middle of the season. I think a lot of us were hoping he'd be back by week 5 or 6. Oh. No, you didn't think you weren't hoping that?
Listen, people kept telling me Nick Chubb is determined. I said, bro, your ligaments don't care nothing about your determination. That's a whole nother science. That's like, no.
I'm determined to win the lottery too, brother.
That ain't, it don't work that way.
Everybody wanted him.
Look, man, I said, you get him back week 8 or 9, like, hey, listen, he's not coming through the door, and nor should we be thinking this way. we need to just tread water to Nick Chubb.
No, you can't.
It's too much pressure and expectations to put on the
Right.
young man.
No.
And how good is he going to be when he comes back?
on,
I mean,
man.
even if he maybe next year he'll be great again for one more season. I don't know, but coming off this injury, you're not likely to be great
training
right
camp.
away. Yeah,
Coming off a very significant injury.
Right.
And then going into middle of the year, you jump in there.
Yeah.
Dude, it's if the guy plays half the year and has 400 or 500 yards, I think that's a win.
Yes.
I think anything from Nick Chubb this year is a bonus.
Yeah, I agree
Right?
with you.
That's just the way it sounds.
Everybody
man.
we all seen AP and thought that he's the closest thing to AP, and
Yeah.
everybody wanted him back because you understand how significant he is in this offense. But
But AP, that was, correct me if I'm wrong, was that the first time he injured that knee or injured
Probably.
a knee? Because Nick
Probably.
Chubb has had knees injuries.
Multiple,
Hey, you
like
know what?
the knee be over here, but the body be over here type injuries.
Like
It's a
places it
difference.
shouldn't go.
Yes, like he had 2 surgeries.
Yeah.
When we had the orthopedic surgeon on, and he was like, yeah, he had this surgery and that. And I know, listen, Nick Chubb is the heart and soul of his offense. He's the heart and soul of the Cleveland Browns. He's one of, and I don't even say I got favorite players. Like, I actively root for him as a person. Like, and I don't root for nobody. I don't eat birthday cake with nobody. It is what it is. But for those acting like he's gonna come in and on a white horse, dressed in all white and save the season, no, you're gonna have to add him in, mix him in slow, and try to get whatever you can out of him, and that's an added bonus. But you got what you got. That's why there's I say 4,500, bull. Why you think I was saying I need that 4,500?
Well, yeah.
Because
he's about 4,200.
No. It's 25 and some change at this point. It's 25.
Whoa! Wait a minute.
It's 25 and change.
When did
at
it
this
get
point.
there? Because yesterday I tuned in. It was a picture of purple grape Kool-Aid.
Just because you got Kool-Aid don't mean that it's a $4,500
So
Kool-Aid.
a 2,000 yard.
I'm just telling you what we on pace for right now. I'm week to week with it. McNuggets like, what can we expect out of this Cleveland Browns offense this week? Nothing.
He said
Hey, you ain't no expectations, bro. We come in here, this is a blind date. I don't even know you. I'm just gonna take it for what it is.
Well, so far, McNuggets had the worst bold prediction I've ever seen because I don't even think his dude is on the board.
What'd you say?
is
Cedric Tillman's second receiver, right?
Oh yeah, that was.
He's like 15 yards behind Amari Cooper. Let's be honest here.
Is he really? Because I don't even know. I don't remember
He's
who
got,
having.
he's got 2 catches for 14 yards.
Yeah,
He's
but
13 behind
he's like
Amari Cooper.
7th or 8th
Hey,
on the team.
and the
Amari
one,
Cooper's
David
top 5
Bell
right now,
was
so.
eating more than him.
hey,
Think about that.
What were the other bold predictions?
You had Alex Wright for 11.
I got a chance.
You do?
what did I have?
What did you have?
You had Deshaun for comeback player of the year.
Not looking good.
That Cedric Tillman might be a little
Was
better.
you here that day or was
I
it
was
Jason?
not here that day.
Yeah.
And what did Tyvus have?
I had G New leading the team in picks.
That ain't
Nobody got none.
He's tied for first right now.
That's true.
Hey, listen.
And Jason had.
What did he
What
have?
was Jason's bold prediction?
I don't think his was very bold. I remember.
No,
that.
his
It
was
wasn't.
very vanilla.
We might we're writing this down for Jason. He said it's time to cut bacon week 1. That was his bold prediction. It's done. I've seen enough.
Let's go.
I do have the fence rider questions, the
The
standings.
results.
By the way.
Go ahead. Yeah.
What's up? Who winning?
Technically, Dustin, who hasn't answered yet, I filled in with the opposite of
Oh, dude,
whatever we needed.
I screwed that
Wow,
up. You
that's a
texted
bad
me
job.
and it was like I was in the middle of something. My bad, dude.
But no, Dustin, you're not answered. You're winning with 8 correct answers. By
Fantastic.
not answering,
Yeah.
Dustin is
That
leading.
doesn't count.
That don't count.
Yeah, why did
Bulls,
you-
you
Asterisk.
are
What do you mean
technically
doesn't
in-
count?
Asterisk.
Then Bulls in first place, 7-3,
So what's up?
and then Jay.
And I should get bonus points for my dice roll yesterday.
Yeah, the dice roll went crazy
That
on
was
the
nuts.
Jay, myself, and Tyvis
Yes.
are all tied at 5
throwing
and
some
5.
dice?
internet.
G, you're 4 and 6. Jason's 4 and 6, and Earl's 3 and 7.
Oh, Earl.
Battle of the wall.
Yeah. Listen, dice games
I got
gone
some
wrong.
click clacks in my bag now.
You always carry them?
Come on now. Them in a deck of cards.
Like never leave home without them?
Never.
It's always
You
in
have
my
a
bag.
deck,
All right,
you have
let's-
deck cards with you, for
Got a
real?
deck of cards in
Let's
my
switch
bag.
gears.
Now, let's do this real quick. We're gonna run around the horn because the Cavs we could blow off at the end.
Okay.
So we're gonna talk plenty of Guardians in a sec. I gotta get a read in before we do anything
Yeah.
real quick though. And if you're looking to hire for a new job, there's no better place to do that than with LinkedIn. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just a job board. It helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job but might be open to the perfect role. In any given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites, so if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours, so you can hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That is linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
Just off the top, I need just really quick. This ain't even gonna be a poll. I need you to put in the chat if you play spades or euchre.
I'll put in the chat.
I
Bull,
play spades, by the way.
You tweeted
Euchre.
out at
It's Ohio thing.
12:30
Yes,
we're
Ohio
going to
thing.
Guardians talk.
So I have to.
Yeah.
So at 12:30 we're going to pivot to the Guardians.
Yeah.
So around the horn in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Everyone gets a minute. Who has been the most surprising player in a good or bad way for the Cleveland Browns through the first 2
I
weeks?
mean,
of the
isn't it
season?
going to be unanimous? Amari Cooper.
Amari
Yeah, Amari
Cooper.
Cooper.
Yeah.
I don't even know who there else. Who else can I pick?
Anybody you want?
Elijah Moore, because I told y'all.
He had a nice
Okay.
game.
I told y'all
Okay, he
what
did.
it was going to be.
Oh,
The
let's not get
8
crazy.
ball is back. He
Okay.
is the number one
Eight ball
target
Imus.
from D-Watt. Who does D-Watt look for first?
No.
Jerry
Judy.
8 ball. You
Jerry
crazy.
Judy.
Nah.
And Amari Cooper still has the most targets. Elijah Moore did play well in game 2. It was probably one of his better games as a Brown.
What did I say? 800. What did I say? 700 yards. What did I say? 750.
He's not on pace for that.
No.
Yeah. Listen. All it takes is a couple
But
missed
Amari
tackles.
Cooper's been a huge disappointment so far.
Yeah.
I mean, has there been a surprise positive? Is there anybody that's been good both games?
I mean, there's a bunch of dudes on the D line that have made plays.
Alex Wright.
Yeah, Alex Wright.
But, like,
I mean, I don't know.
I think we expected them to all play pretty well on the D line. No,
Jordan Hicks has been pretty.
I was gonna say
good.
Hicks
yeah,
has
but he
made
didn't
some
do anything
plays.
the
Alex
first
Wright.
game.
No.
Do you know who I think you can make a case for in a
Who?
bad way? I've been really disappointed with Batonio through 2 weeks.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. He got old really fast. The penalties we
I
heard
don't
him get called for
disagree with
holding
that.
against. I thought against Dallas. I mean, the whole offensive line was
Yeah.
an issue, but I've been really and not in a good way. I think
Yeah.
Cooper is probably the right answer, but Batonio's another guy who I've been surprised at how quickly he's kind of fallen from elite status to I don't feel great about what he's
Father
doing.
Time.
How was-
Undefeated.
Catches up with everybody.
How was DeWine? I know he missed
He's been bad.
he missed because he like fell out the game.
Yeah.
Cause
I have a feeling like injuries are going to be an issue for him his whole career. I mean, at that size,
Was he hurt? I thought he was just tired.
was that it? I thought he left the game with an
Hey,
injury.
listen. If you,
I thought he went to the locker room to get an IV.
no.
I swear I thought he was going to get an IV.
He's 23 years old. What the hell?
He's a big guy.
No.
I thought he was.
If you are taken off the field
For
with
humidity?
your helmet off for general
I
fatigue,
mean, my God.
That humidity real. What you gotta get? You gotta get a listen.
that's unacceptable.
I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Before every game, I used to
General
get an
fatigue.
IV.
General
and
fatigue?
at halftime, I might have needed to get another one.
Yeah, but you didn't leave the game.
You didn't leave the
retired.
game under.
I also ain't 4 dang near 400 pounds either.
I mean,
Oh, he's 400 pounds.
I mean,
Don't let you get. He is 400 pounds.
I'm not trying to shame nobody, but you can't be walking not under your own energy with
Professional
help.
athlete.
He did the
Perfect,
Paul,
you-
he did
you're
the
an
Paul
athlete.
Pierce, huh?
And, you can't be getting carted off like that. Ain't it? Like no, Tyvus.
Something
had to be wrong.
Did they say he had an injury? Because I don't think they did. Because I listened to the post
He's on
game
the
show.
Injury report limited with fat. That's what it is.
The post
Now, I
game
can
show,
say
he,
that as a
he
fat guy.
never
You
said
guys can't
anything
say
about an
that.
injury.
You see, McNuggets. This is how.
Why did he catch a
I started
strike?
to say cheese.
This is why.
You
You
can't.
see how this
You didn't
devolves?
say a word.
Yeah.
You see how this devolves into.
I appreciate a fellow fat guy, but I mean, he's fat. Let's be honest. I mean,
He
Garrett?
is 400 pounds.
I mean,
Did you even
I
catch Bull
love
taking a shot at you?
He snuck that
That's
in.
all right. We're fellow fat guys.
Yes.
We can do that.
I just wear, listen, I've been wearing black a lot. I'm
Yeah.
a little slimmer in the torso area. Now, I can always tell when I gain weight because my cheeks get bigger. Like right here, I'd be like, yo.
Puffied up.
Yeah, they'd be like.
It's all about the face, man. The
Yeah.
cheeks, especially with this TV
They
stuff.
like, they like,
man.
are you smuggling muffins, G. Bush? You muffin smuggler? Somebody said I look like a pistachio muffin today.
Your face get fat.
Oh, God.
That's crazy.
All right, on that note, Mike, give us a read.
All right, let's talk Guardians, guys. If you're looking to get to a Guardians game before the end of the season, you better be using Game Time to buy your tickets. And using the Game Time Picks app, which is new and it makes getting tickets for your favorite live events that much easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. You can get a full view, panoramic style from your seat on the app before you buy. And if you find a cheaper ticket somewhere else online, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying your tickets with Game Time. Download the app today, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. Bull, the Guardians won. Take it away.
Great win for the Guardians last night. I don't know how many of you saw it. We did a Zach.
I saw it.
Nice. Zach and I did the Guardian show this morning, and we had really big numbers, Mike, live numbers. It was one of the best we've had consistently through the show. I think, now that we're approaching the playoffs and the Guardians are going to make the playoffs, people are getting pretty excited. They still have a chance for the number one seed. Mm-hmm. They're only half game behind the Yankees for the number one seed. They have to finish ahead of the Yankees because the Yankees have the tiebreaker. They're 5 games up in the division. The magic number to clinch a playoff spot is 3. So any combination of 3 wins by the Guardians and losses by the Tigers, who are the best team out of the playoffs, any combination of that, and the Guardians will clinch a playoff spot. Their magic number for clinching the division, I believe, is 7. Let me do it right here, 151. The most the Royals could win is 93. Yeah, it's 7 because the Royals have the tiebreaker. So any combination of 7 wins and Royals' 7 losses, they clinch the division. They're still battling the Yankees for the top spot. You're still trying to hold off Houston for that 2 spot and a bye.
How many games? That's one
I believe they're up 5 on Houston.
Okay, yeah.
Now remember, they play Houston the final 3 games of the season.
No.
And if Houston swept them, they would have the tiebreaker. So if they finished tied, Houston would end up as the 2 seed. You can't have that. Hopefully you've clinched at least that 2 seed before that series, so it doesn't come down to that. They've got 2 more games with Minnesota. Then they go to St. Louis for a 3-game series. Then back home for 2 with Cincinnati, and then they finish up with 3
How are the
against
Cardinals?
Houston. The Cardinals are around 500. What are they, Mike? Game over 500, 2 over?
The Cardinals?
They're a middling team.
Yeah, they're right around 500. The official record,
I'll say they're 2 over.
2 overs your guess?
Yeah.
Bull, you are wrong. They're
What?
dead even. 500 on the dot.
Okay,
75 and 75.
All right, they must have lost their last couple of games.
I don't know
They're
how-
a mediocre team. They're not that good. Cincinnati's not very good. Yeah. Minnesota's okay, but they're not playing. I think Minnesota's going to blow that last wild card, and I think the Tigers are going to get in.
Really?
Oh yeah, they're only a game and a half back in Minnesota. I like the way they're playing, and they're playing Kansas City right now. They beat Kansas City last night. Detroit's pitching very under the radar. Their pitching's been fantastic lately. They're only 2 games in the loss column behind Minnesota, so they got a shot. The White Sox, by the way, have won 3 in a row.
They messing
I
the
saw
money
that.
up.
They're still going to break the
I saw
record.
that.
They have to go. They have to win 7 of their final 13 games to not break the record, which they won't do. But anyway,
I would tell you what. With this Manzardo late home run.
Yeah,
if he's
that was
gonna,
huge.
If he's going to continue to hit, I'm really coming along to this lineup now. Like, you got some hitters in the lineup now. You think about it. You got, if Quan ever just.
He was just starting to hit before this little back injury. He had walked 6 games in a row.
Okay.
He had hit 4 of 6.
But you got Jose, Josh, Manzardo, Noel, Thomas.
Jimenez has been a little better lately.
Jimenez,
Thomas
Fry.
has been great lately.
Like, it's.
Fry's still struggling, but Ramirez and Naylor have been righting the ship. Listen, Manzardo should be playing every day against righties. He didn't start on Saturday or Sunday. I don't understand that, especially Sunday, because the Rays started Taj Bradley. And
Is he DHing or is he playing?
He's mostly DHing. Naylor's just more comfortable at first base, so they're sticking with him there. There are some guys that just don't like to DH for whatever reason. It's just strange to me, but
Whose glove is better?
I mean, I haven't seen enough of Manzardo in the majors to know for sure, but Josh Naylor's not a good defensive player, so I'll assume Manzardo's better. He's younger. He's in better shape. I'm going to assume he's better, but I don't know that for sure because I haven't seen him play enough.
Right. I thought you had the minor league the minor league
Yeah.
analysis.
Minor
I ain't
league
seen it.
advanced stats on defense are kind of questionable.
Really?
So I don't know, but I'm
Did you
assuming
see this
Manzardo-
quote from Manzardo after the home run, by the way?
Well, he was emotional, and
Yeah.
Stephen Vogt was crying in the postgame.
I was going to lead
What?
to that.
Yeah.
Give me that.
Crying about what?
Real men cry, boys.
Yeah,
I know
well-
you guys are football players.
I cry all the
Sometimes
time,
you're not in
dude.
touch with your feelings. Dustin, in recent years, has gotten in touch with his feelings. He's become a more emotional guy. I like it. We got to get you there, Tyler.
I'm dead inside.
No, you're not.
Well, Bull, about
Me and
Manzardo
Jason are
getting
dead.
emotional,
No.
about
Jason
Vogt
is,
getting
yeah.
emotional about, like,
What happened?
he was just so happy for him. And Manzardo, you can take this quote. He was talking about after hitting the home run, what's flooding through his mind, and he said, quote, "I floated a little bit. I don't remember all of it, honestly, just blacked out, living in the moment." Knowing how much this mattered to Manzardo, seeing how Vogt reacted to it after the fact, Bull.
yeah.
I was already confident in the Guardians. I like their
Yeah.
chances, but I love to see that from the head manager. I mean, the manager, not head manager, but from the manager.
Yeah.
That kind of. I know, it just seemed like
Emotion.
it meant. Yeah,
Yeah,
It
it
was
was
cool
cool.
to see, and I'm not sure it would have come off
And the whole team.
in the way that hit the way it did had it been someone else, but
Yeah.
it was just really cool last night to see it all come together.
Well, think about this. A year ago, a little more than a year ago, the Guardians trade Aaron Savali for Kyle Manzardo. A lot of the players were pissed because they were still in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the fans and a lot of the media, including Jay and others,
Jay
were pissed,
Crawford.
right? I wasn't pissed because I understood why they did it. I thought it made sense at the time, and we'll see in the long term. Savali hasn't been particularly good since they've traded him away. But Savali was popular in the locker room, and you know who one of his best friends is? Josh Naylor. Plus, Kyle Manzardo was brought in,
Same.
first baseman, and
And
the
you-
players were pissed last
And
year.
you know Naylor, they ain't about to pay Naylor anyway. No,
Probably not.
Yeah, they
They're
probably not.
Don't you start that
Although he's
before.
going to be a weird one because he's a guy that is going to, in my opinion, he's one of these baseball players that will go off the cliff in a hurry in his 30s, and I don't think anybody's going to pay him a lot of money. But as good as he is,
How old is he?
he's younger than I think he's like 27. I don't think he's that old.
You talking about Naylor?
Yeah,
I'll look it up.
but he won't age well. Guys,
won't age
his
well.
body types don't
Hey.
usually age well.
Prince Fielder did.
No, he didn't.
No,
What are you
he
talking
didn't.
about?
No, he did.
At
Yeah,
all.
He did go
Yeah.
He was here today.
Guy was
gone
like a
tomorrow.
superstar, then he got hurt, then he was gone.
Yeah, but dude, Naylor is a little chunky, but he's not like
He's not
Fielder
Prince
fat.
Fielder,
No.
but he's not.
He's more like Kung Fu Panda.
It's just his style of game doesn't get paid very.
He's 27.
His style of baseball. He's like as good as he is. Other teams don't look at him as like a big money player.
No.
He's clutch, and that helps. But he's a
He's
one-dimensional
he's
player.
the perfect Guardians
He's
player.
a great Guardians player.
Yeah.
They should find.
You know what I mean? Like, you got to find guys like that
Yes.
that don't cost you
Crazy
a
money.
boatload,
You gotta
Yeah.
coin
but
that.
they also provide
Yeah.
what you need.
Leadership, energy,
Yeah, I mean,
all
they
those
got like
things.
intangibles that
Yeah.
you don't. I mean, there's a lot of great players in the game. We
Yeah.
know that. And he's a really good player.
Absolutely.
But he's not like a great
Not a superstar.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not a superstar,
Yeah.
but that's okay. He's a great Guardians player.
The great guard. That is the most Dustin thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
He's a Greek
And
Guardians
by the way,
player.
that should just stick to everybody because it's a way to give somebody a backhanded compliment, but it's
It's
not
like
really,
saying, man, you would be really good in Iowa's offense, man.
yeah, boy, man,
Right?
you would
Anybody
be
would.
anything besides an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
like you'd be like, man.
I mean, you'd be a great running back at Iowa.
yeah, you next up after Ricky Stanzi. You are there.
Hey, man,
like-
Brad Banks.
he's like
That was rare.
he's like the
Very-
equivalent.
still is.
He's like a basketball equivalent, a baseball equivalent of Jared Allen, like borderline all-star, good player, flawed player, but you know what you're going to get from him, and that's what Josh Naylor
They
is.
kind of look related a little bit.
They could be related. I
They're
could
like
see them
cousins.
being related. Yeah, absolutely. But the Manzardo home run last night was huge. You're playing a division rival in Minnesota. They're trying to get into the playoffs. You're down 3-2, and then he hits that home run. But did you guys hear Hammy's call, by the way?
no, I
Did
didn't.
not.
Incredible.
Oh my! Is there any way we can play it? I should ask you before the show. That was a bad
Yeah,
job.
we had the video of the home. Can I put sound on with this, Ant?
If we can play it, because I thought it was one of his best calls ever.
Give me a second.
And the home run. Do you guys remember in 20?
We'll give credit to TAM.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you guys remember? Was it 2013? It had to be 2013, right? When was it? I can't remember what year it was. When Giambi hit that home run against the White Sox.
You were
last
there.
of the season. I was there. Yeah. Now I'm drawing a blank.
When like everyone left the game.
Right.
I want to say that had to be 13, 14?
I think it was 13,
It was 13.
They won a bunch of games at the end of the season to get a wild card.
That was the year they played the Rays and Danny Salazar year.
That's
yeah.
right. Man, talk about a guy falling off a cliff.
David Price was picked, didn't he?
Yeah,
It was David
another
Price.
guy who fell off.
Yeah,
the cliff.
another one.
I think they probably had Carl Crawford, who also fell off the cliff.
Wow.
But anyway.
Well, I got it. You want to hear
Okay,
it?
yeah, listen to this call.
All right, this is going to see if I got to hit the button and hit 2 buttons at once. Ready?
WTAM.
This is Tom Hamilton. Oh, there we go.
Swung on, hit high, hit deep to right, away back, gone! How about that? A majestic 2-run bomb to right by Kyle Manzardo off Minnesota's bat. The pitch.
All right, I got to say a couple things
Yeah.
here. As a fellow announcer, he's a play-by-play guy.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
Oh, my
Number
God.
one. But the thing about him and what makes
you
him
gonna
so
say? Go ahead.
what makes him so good is that he has so many of those moments.
Yeah.
And they're all just as good or better than they were before. I don't know, man. That was fantastic.
You know what makes it especially amazing? Because a lot of broadcasters can't get out of their own way.
Oh, he let it breathe.
He let it breathe.
Yeah.
He
Oh, I
made
know.
the call,
I immediately knew that. Yeah.
Made the call.
Get out of the way.
And then let it breathe. You heard the crowd noise.
And what's great is so like TV definitely can lay out because you got pictures.
Yeah, although he wasn't on TV. Right.
That's
Oh,
my
yeah,
point,
right,
which is
yeah.
hard to lay out on radio.
absolutely.
But because you got such great audio there with the crowd, yeah.
I mean,
dude, that was
nobody has a better feel.
fantastic.
I've got chills listening to that
I got
call.
some too.
I mean,
But this Bull was crying. Bull was over here. He was
Well,
just
you know,
like,
he's in touch with
he
his
was just
feelings.
like,
I am.
I started, he was like,
that was just when I heard that call. Shout out to McNeil who put that
When you're
together on Twitter. That was a great call and good job by Tom Hamilton. But that was a huge homer. And then Clase shuts it down again in the ninth. The Guardians bullpen again.
Our Cy Young closer.
He's not going to win it.
Why are you so negative, man?
I'm not negative. I love the guy.
I thought you were a Clevelander.
I'm being realistic.
What
He's
if he
not gonna win.
does?
That'd be great. I just know how these guys vote. He's going to fit. I bet
So
you he finishes
Scooble's
second.
going to win?
Yeah, especially now that the Tigers are in the pennant race.
Yeah, I guess you got a point.
The guys, it's harder to be a great starter than a great closer. I mean, he's having Mariano Rivera, the greatest closer ever, never won a Cy Young. There's only been like 4 or 5 closers that have ever won a Cy Young, and all of those guys had strikeout numbers through the roof, which he doesn't have. Now, his ERA and his WHIP are, for those who don't know what WHIP is, that's walks and hits divided by innings pitched. His numbers in those two statistics are like insanely ridiculous.
I thought you was talking about cars.
Yeah, right.
Whip.
But he's not. I don't think he's going to win. Scooble is pitching tomorrow.
And let me ask you,
Yeah.
what happened? Now, what happened with Valera?
Oh, he ruptured his patella tendon.
Doing what?
I think just playing baseball.
That is
Yeah,
one
he
of the
went
worst
to
injuries.
jump. He went to. There was a ball hit out to the warning track. He was trying to rob a home run. I think this is what happened, if I remember. And I think he went to jump and something happened. I don't know. That's a bad injury.
I had one of those my senior year.
Oof, that's a hard one
You
to come
messed
back
up your
from.
patella?
Yeah, I got all the ACLs, the
Oh,
patellas, all them.
This
CLs.
guy's had so many injuries. I feel so bad for him. Like he's been on the cusp.
Espino.
What's that?
Him and Espino.
Yeah, but Valera has been on the cusp of the big leagues for like 3 years, and every time it feels like he's about to get called up, he gets hurt. So it kind of sucks. But what's fascinating and looking ahead to the playoffs, because the Guardians are going to the playoffs, and they're almost definitely going to win their division. Looking ahead to the playoffs, a couple of things here. I feel like this is as wide open as we've ever seen. Now, baseball playoffs in general. Whether you guys, I know none of you guys are diehard baseball fans, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. But more people watch the playoffs, right? Because it's
Yeah.
But one of the few advantages, maybe the only advantage that baseball has over football, and certainly over basketball, although basketball is now getting better with this, is that the playoffs are much more wide open. Mm-hmm. Anybody can win most years, but this year there's not even a favorite. I mean, in Vegas, the Dodgers are the favorite. But their best pitcher's out for the year, Glass now. Clayton Kershaw, I don't know when he's coming back. They got a million injuries.
He got hurt again?
Again.
Oh, wow.
You know? I mean, they got Ohtani, obviously, but...
Oh, he's pitching in the playoffs?
No, well, you know what? I don't think he's going to, but their manager, Dave Roberts, was asked about it, and he said maybe. I think they're just playing games.
How long has he been out? Like, he's been out?
It's been a year.
Yeah, full year.
Usually it takes more than a year. I can't imagine. Even if he does, they'll pitch him out of the pen.
It's not worth risking it in case he hurts.
So their ace right now is, what is his name? Yamamoto?
I guess, but he just came off the injured list, and he's missed 3 months. So I don't know, but when we go in these playoffs, it's wide open. And listen, the Guardians are flawed. The bottom of the lineup's not very good. Their starting rotation's got a lot of question marks. But I can go through every team and tell you their flaws. And here's a few different areas where the Guardians are way better than all the American League teams. By far, they got the best bullpen. By far. It's not even close. Their ERA as a bullpen, I think, is like 260 something, which that's got to be one of the best of all time.
Isn't the Brewers like right behind?
The Brewers are second at 320. That's a half a run worse.
Oh, wow.
And they're second, and they're in the National League. Now, they're going to go to the playoffs, but they're in the National League. They run the bases as well, if not better, than any other team. They play defense as well, as if not better than every other team. So those are not the traditional things you look at as much. In the playoffs, you can get away with a starting pitcher going 3-4 innings. Look what they did yesterday. Yet again, Matthew Boyd gets knocked out in the third inning. Bullpen, 7 or 6 1/3 or whatever it was, shutout baseball.
Well, I get scared by this. I get scared. You start off a game.
Yeah.
Opposing team, whoever you want to make it be, comes up, gets 3 runs.
Yeah, okay, that's an issue.
And then,
no doubt.
I'm like, I feel like in my stomach, I'm screwed the rest of the game.
That's an issue. They can't afford to fall behind big, obviously, early.
And 3,
you got to be able to get to that. No, but you got to be able to get to that bullpen with a lead. But if they can do it, if they can get 3 or 4 good innings from their starting pitchers, they're going to be in good shape. And I think they can win the World Series this year. I've been saying it for months, even with their struggles at times. And remember when they salvaged that last game against the Royals in that series?
You called it at the time, boy.
And I said at the time, we're going to look back at that as the returning point of the season. They've gone 12-6 since winning that game. And if they had lost that game, they were in second place. And now they're going to clinch the division probably before the end of the weekend. So it's been huge. And I think, you look at the Yankees, their bullpen stinks. It's terrible. You look at the Royals, their bullpen very shaky. The Orioles, their bullpen's very shaky. Now, those teams all have better number 1 starters than the Guardians. That's an advantage, no doubt. But the Guardians overall, when it comes to the pitching, and especially the bullpen, have a major advantage over all those teams. And none of those teams scare me. The Yankees do a tiny bit, but they wouldn't play the Yankees until the ALCS.
Let me ask you a question, Bull. I wanted to do this yesterday, but it's Monday after the game.
Yeah.
Time. In his 2 starts in September, Joey Cantillo has been really, really good.
Yeah.
Understand?
Better than real. I mean, he's been sensational.
12 innings pitched, 5 hits allowed, 1 run, 16 strikeouts, 1 walk. His ERA is a 0.75. Been terrific.
Yeah.
Matthew Boyd struggled of late. Alex Cobb's on the IL right now.
Yeah.
It's premature to put him into any kind of playoff rotation yet, but is there a chance if Cantillo keeps pitching? I mean, at this level, I'm expecting a drop off to some capacity. Could we be looking at Cantillo as their 3rd or 4th playoff starter potentially?
It's funny that you asked that because somebody asked us that on the Ultimate Guardian show today, the 50-minute edition, if you want to go back and check it out.
It's on our YouTube page. Go check it out.
It is. So we talked about that because all year we've been like, you can't rely, Joey Cantillo, he's not even, he's an okay prospect, nothing special. And he's looked like crap for most of the year when he's come up. But he's been so dominant in these 2 starts, I think there is a chance he could be their 4th starter in the playoffs. Now, if you ask me right now, will he be? I'll say no. But I think there is definitely a chance. And if you asked me that 2 weeks ago, I would have said, what are you, out of your mind? So I'll still say no, but I do think there's a chance depending on how things go. He's probably going to start 2, maybe 3 more, probably only 2 more games.
So your final 2 is Boyd and
Lively. Boyd has struggled here. I mean, I think at this point, Lively's probably Bybee and Williams will even with Williams being up and down, they're going to start in the playoffs. The 3rd starter right now is probably going to be Lively, because he's kind of righted the ship. If Cobb is back, they might go with him, but he's pitched so little, I just don't think you can rely on him. I think either way, Cantillo has probably earned himself a spot on the playoff roster because in the playoffs you're going to have, 13 pitchers. So I think he'll be one of the 13. I'll tell you somebody else we might see for the playoffs is Tristan McKenzie.
I was
going to
say I was going to say you would start Cantillo over.
Well, I'm not starting Tristan McKenzie.
Under no
Wait a minute. He been back since he been with the Clippers? He been good?
His last couple of outings, he's come out of the pen and he's pitched better. I've been saying this for weeks.
Put him in the pen.
Carlos Carrasco's career was a disaster early. He was awful early in his career with the Guardians, and they moved him to the bullpen. He had a great half a season in the bullpen, started the next year in the pen, got off to a great start, went into the rotation, and he was an all-star, borderline all-star pitcher the rest of his career until the last couple of years. I think we can see the same thing with McKenzie. I would put him in the bullpen for the playoffs. I'd start him in the bullpen next year, and when you feel he's 100, he has kind of worked off through his things. Because in the bullpen, it's just in a way, when you're not, especially when you're not closing, it's an opportunity for a guy with great stuff, and he's got great stuff to just kind of cut it loose. You don't have to worry about pacing yourself for 5, 6, 7 innings. If you're going in there for 1 or maybe 2 innings, you just kind of let it all out, and he can throw hard.
But you gotta be able to throw strikes though.
Absolutely, and he did in his bullpen outings. We'll see what happens here. They have so many good arms. It seems like everybody they call up to pitch in that pen does well. It doesn't even matter. So they've done a great job, and I don't know. It was a great win, and cool to see the emotion from all those guys. And playoffs start in 2 weeks. And by the way, no, I'm not going to talk about that. Oh, let me tell one other quick story that has nothing to do with Major League Baseball. I said I almost had 2 incidents this weekend. So Sunday was the playoffs for the fall baseball that I'm involved with, right?
Okay.
So I coach 2 teams, as you guys know. Both my teams, we got the top seed, so we had a bye this week. Mm-hmm. So the rest of the coaches, we were volunteering to help out. So I said that I would umpire the bases, because we hire umpires to call balls and strikes, but sometimes we have volunteers umpire the bases. Mm-hmm. Usually it's this guy Bill, who's a great guy, who umps Little League games. Anyway, so I agreed to ump the bases for the 2 games that were being played, minors, majors division, that are in the other division, so the winner wasn't playing my team. Mm-hmm. So there would be no, not that I would cheat anyway, but just so there was nobody suspecting anything, I said I'll ump the other game. So first game was the minor leagues, all went well, blah, blah, blah. So the second game, right, I'm umping the major league game, and this game was crazy. So during the season, it's an hour 40 time limit. You can't start a new inning after an hour and 40 minutes. But for the playoffs, no time limits. Okay. And we play 6-inning games. The game went 2 extra innings. The final score was 20-19. The game took 3.5 hours. And I'm standing out in the sun. I'm ready to pass out. Okay? And at one point in the last couple of innings, I had to yell at both teams, including yelling at adults who should know better. First, I had to yell at one team, the kids, because they were complaining about the home plate umpire's ball and strike call, which I'm not having. Their coach should have done it himself. I said, hey, pipe down all. I screamed from first base, pipe down all of you. And they all shut the hell up.
I ain't heard pipe down in a while.
12 and 13-year-old kids shouldn't be yelling at, talking about balls and strikes. You barely know what the hell you're doing at the plate. You worry about that. But then the other team's assistant coaches were complaining about a couple of calls. And I basically told them to shut the you-know-what up. I said, I can't believe this. I'm having to yell at adults about a baseball game for kids. Do you believe that?
Yeah, I do. 100%. I'm about to say,
yes.
Actually, I do.
Yes. And listen, Mike has come to games that I've coached. He came to a game this year to do a video, and I was pissed at my kids.
That's a fact.
Not because they didn't play well, because of there was some bad behavior by my kids. And I got pissed.
You gave them all game balls.
I know. I'm still pissed about that. And then I took them away. But anyway,
that's the worst part of it.
Give me that back.
Give it back.
You can't, these guys were out of control. I'm out here volunteering my time for 3.5 hours in the baking hot sun, and you're complaining about this rule. Shut up.
we was talking about this. Like you probably, as parents, the most devastating thing you can do to a child is take something back from them. They melt on the spot like, oh God, Dad came home and took away X, Y, and Z. Like, yo,
why did you take the ball back?
Because I realized I shouldn't have given them all. It was stupid. I was just like,
everybody got a game ball?
It was so insane. Yeah. I got caught up. It was a bad moment. But anyway, my team's got 2 big games this week. My 9 and 10-year-olds play at 8:30 Sunday morning, and then my 11, 12-year-olds play at 11 o'clock, and I'm expecting to win to get to the championship game on both levels. We are the home team in both games. We need to get 2 victories. Let's go.
You got it.
You
Let's
should
go.
You should go renegotiate your contract if that happens.
I want to be coach of the year. Let's go.
You should be.
Okay, Kevin.
I'm not getting paid.
Speaking of funny stories, I have a funny story from the weekend.
Yeah.
So, guess who I became friends with this weekend?
Could we guess? Is it somebody we could possibly guess?
No.
Oh, okay. Then tell
No.
us.
I mean, you definitely know who this person is.
Okay. Somebody famous.
Stefan Edberg.
No.
Okay.
No, I don't think it's Steph. It's Steph. Who is he? That's a tennis player.
I don't even know what he's talking about.
No,
Roger
it's
Federer.
not Stefan Edberg.
I mean, he's made up a tennis name.
No. Listen, that's it. Edberg. That's the guy.
Alex
wasn't Edberg.
Ovechkin.
Anyway, who is it?
Blaine Gabbert.
What?
Oh, Blaine.
What's he doing? these
So,
days?
so his brother is a starting quarterback for Miami, and I had the Miami-Cincinnati game this weekend. And so our spotter was on the flight from Tampa to Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And he's sitting first class next to Blaine Gabbert. Doesn't know who he is.
Yeah.
They start having a conversation. Next thing you know, they are like they're best buddies.
Right.
They end up sharing a car, like planes, trains, and automobiles, from the airport to the hotel because it's a small town. So
he's hanging with you guys.
So he's hanging with my spotter. They are in the car together. My buddy calls me.
Yeah.
Passes the phone to Blaine Gabbert. I end up talking to him for like 15 minutes.
That's funny.
Great guy. And then I'm like, hey, do you want to come on the broadcast during the game? He's like, hell yeah. And so we brought him on during the game, which was really cool.
What is he doing now?
He's just retired. Dude, he has won 2 of the last 4 Super Bowls.
He got that backup bag.
Yeah. Dude, he was Brady's backup for Tampa Bay.
Oh, he was Mahomes.
And Mahomes' backup last year.
Right.
So it was great guy.
He's not that old, right?
No, he's like 31.
His brother is where?
Starting quarterback for the Miami, Ohio Red
big age.
He's kind of big too. Oh, by the way,
great guy though.
Just to prove he does it good. Stefan Edberg, #1 tennis player.
Oh my God!
Major.
What year?
He won 6 Grand Slam singles titles, 3 Grand Slam men's double titles.
What year?
1985 and
Okay, I don't follow past, or I am.
I mean, you know
post,
McEnroe.
Yeah, of course, but I didn't follow him. I'm like post 06, dude.
That's a good job out of you, though. That was not a made-up name.
Ivan Lendl.
It sounded made
you know
up.
who Lendl is, right?
I mean, I thought you were gonna be. If you just said like Michael Chang.
Okay.
Jim Courier.
I love Jim Courier. By the way, best tennis analyst is Jim Courier.
Not John McEnroe, huh? Or Pat
McEnroe is fine. His brother's fine.
Yeah. All right, let's get to super chats.
We got some
Mike.
super chats to wrap up the show here. We got a couple. First one comes from Sean McCoy, who said, Zardo went yardo and I got a hardo.
Whoa. That's a little...
I thought we were allowed to
We
curse.
gotta chill. We gotta chill today. He paid for that though.
He paid for it.
Yeah.
Jonathan
Paid for
another
it? That's
thing.
something
He
else.
out of
Not
line.
good.
He's out of line.
Yeah.
No,
John
you can't
Mann
do
says
that.
G looks like Slimer from Ghostbusters.
Nah.
No, that's a little harsh.
That's not. I know you only knew one lime green thing, but Slimer is not it. Slimer's never been this fresh.
Slimer's not even that green.
No.
He's a different shade of
He's a
green.
lighter green.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
DDD fan said, Bull, don't be the only person in a section standing up. If I wanted to watch on a big screen, I'd stay home and watch.
I was not the
on
only
TV.
person.
Sit your big head down.
You're a loser, just like this guy was a loser. And most of the every fan in that section was with me. It was half the section was up, or maybe, I don't know, 40% of the section was up. And he was in a group of people that were sitting down. He could have moved his ass over. He was a whining little baby, and that's the end of the conversation. It doesn't have to be, but that's what I'm saying. It's the end for me. Go ahead.
All right, 2 more.
Yeah.
World's fastest fat man
Yeah.
Okay.
says, you guys are wrong. DeJuan had a 76th grade and played 62 snaps on Sunday.
If he talking PFF, he's dead to me. I mean, it's dead to me.
whatever.
So.
I was just defending his conditioning. That's all I was doing.
That's all
Yeah,
I was just
didn't he have like a 30 grade the first week?
It was low. I don't remember exact number.
All right, next.
And last one comes from Starboy, who says, this is a call back to an earlier show. It's more expensive to be a UCSS member and to send this super chat than it is to buy Guardians Sox tickets in Chicago.
Oh, really?
The tickets
We're way more entertaining.
You could send
I'm going to say that right now.
You don't have to spend a certain amount of
You
money
can
for
spend
Super
one
Chat.
penny on a super chat.
Yeah, right.
I wonder how much a ticket is for a white.
It was $3.
Yeah. What, you going to go?
Dude, not a chance.
He ain't going to that.
There's more people
Where
on
to
this
buy it in
set than
Chicago?
there will be at Comiskey.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't have many. Well, and then most of the people that were there were Guardians fans when
Whatever they have,
when
guaranteed rate. What the
Guardians
freak they call it now.
were there. All right, coming up in overtime, we'll talk Isaac Okoro.
Now, let's actually talk about the Panthers bench and
Let's
That's
talk about Isaac Okoro.
crazy.
Any thoughts on Okoro? We got 30 seconds. Anybody?
Minimowski.
Can he
They're going to have to
improve
trade somebody
offensively?
to keep him.
I don't know, man. This was the most disappointing offseason by the Cavs. They did literally nothing.
They did what you said last year. If they did, you wouldn't watch.
I know. But I'm going to have to watch because it's a new coach. So I got to see what it looks
They
like.
just ran it
I
all
mean,
the
they paid
way
this
back.
guy for his defense, man.
Jay said this a few times, and he's right about this one. They're putting all the blame on JB. They're saying it was all his fault.
They're running back.
Yeah.
When is the first game?
The
End
first
of
regular
October.
season? Yeah, around
End
Halloween.
of October.
Okay.
I mean, exhibition games start in a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, media day's the 30th, and then they go to IMG.
Didn't they do it on a Monday? They always do it on a Monday, right? So stupid.
Is the 30th a Monday?
I bet you it is.
And the
We'll tell you in overtime.
Actually, I don't
you can
think it
find
is.
out the calendar
All right.
The
exclusively.
30th is.